Let's have a laugh party.
In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for keeps?
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Radical.
Gone are the days of pods and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Okay. That's a way to start it out.
We are off to a great start.
Holy moly, guacamole.
I assume
That's how we like to start with a bang.
I assume that was.
Are you Jewish or something, man?
I'm sorry. What was that, Jared? What'd you say? You like to start with a. You like to start with a bang.
Congratulations!
That's for Jared.
Very good.
Okay, I set myself up for that one. Yep.
He just got married, so he always likes to bring all that innuendo in on the stream. Thanks. I haven't even done the show. I haven't even done the intro yet, and we're already talking about that. Welcome to the show. This is Best Gen. The show's where nerds complain about nerdy things. The show's called Best Gen because we're all roughly from the same gen, and we happen to think that it's the best, not because we as people were better, but because our entertainment was. Movies suck now, and we're gonna talk about it. We got a lot to discuss.
A lot.
Yeah.
Lots of good things, though. I mean, this week at least.
Yeah, there's good stuff. There's good stuff this week, and there's some not good stuff. We're talking about Andor, episode 10. We're talking about the Peripheral, episode 5. We'll briefly talk about Black Panther, but not all of us have seen it. But
We can push it off a week if y'all want, because also my audience hasn't watched it. So.
Oh no, we're not gonna we won't go Black Panther spoilers, but I do want to talk about it for a little bit. And I also have a show recommendation. I've already watched the whole thing. It's a little mini series, and it's just a good. There are diamonds in the rough of good content that I like recommending good things. So we're joined by Beardish. Shaved last week, and he looked like a naked mole rat, and now he looks like a Mexican teen.
You look just like El Namor, bro. You have
He looks like
a
Dave.
El Namor.
El Namor.
El Namor. Mm-hmm.
He looks like that teen who hit puberty before everyone else, but not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look
Get there.
just like that Latino boy that grows like a little,
Mhm.
patchy beard, but never can grow a full beard when he grows older.
Mhm.
It's very. I mean, I'm speaking about myself, obviously.
But we do know you can grow a beard, and we hope that it comes back, because yikes. We're also joined by
That's why I'm no longer beardless. I'm beard-ish.
You beard-ish. We're joined by my brother David.
Hey.
David's got his own channel now. It's the Shelf Help Gaming, where he does tabletop board games and stuff. Did I explain it good enough for you?
Fantastic.
I'm sipping on some juice. And we're joined by the Angry Mexa as well. We love him.
Woo.
He's got his own channel. Go sub over there. And finally, my cousin Jared, who hasn't watched any of the stuff that we're going to talk about, so he's going to leave real soon.
I mean, we could do. Everyone's talking about bad takes pre-show, so maybe we can talk about bad takes.
Yeah, maybe we
want
should
to?
start with bad takes.
Yeah.
That would be controversial. Yeah, I
Mix
think
things
we'll
up.
talk. I think we'll talk Black Panther and then do bad takes. That's a good idea.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Quick shout out to Mark Clark in the audience, our channel member. If you want to become a channel member, it only costs 99 cents, and you can do that on the channel, and then you get access to emojis. That's pretty
And
much
throw
it.
bags of rocks at my face
That's pretty much it.
because I don't have a beard.
You get a star next to your name, and you get emojis, and you get a permanent 5% discount on my merch if you want to spend more money on me, baby.
I mean, that sounds like a great deal for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go sub to David's channel if you like board games, and go sub to the Angry Mexicans channel if you like Mexicans.
Holy moly!
Angry Mex.
So if you don't, you're racist, I guess.
Probably.
You're going to be less racist than the guys that wrote Wakanda Forever, probably.
Oh my
Probably.
gosh, that movie. Okay, let's talk about Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever is racist. This is a horribly racist movie. So we talked about it last week, and we're like, well, obviously, I can't go to the theater to see Wakanda Forever because the opening weekend is for blacks only. That's what they said. If you're white, you're not allowed to go. So so we said we might talk about it next Sunday, but I was like, I feel like I should watch it just to, I got to review it. So I found a torrent.
Oh no!
Of a cam version of the movie.
Those are the
And
worst.
It is so bad. No, not the quality of the recording is good, but I couldn't make it 10 minutes into this movie. Watching it on my computer, because I have 4 screens, I was just like, I can be doing something else right now. I literally think the only way I'll be able to make it through the movie is if I go to the theater physically, because I won't be able to do anything else.
Yeah, probably.
But it was oh my gosh.
Get a thing of popcorn.
It was so bad. Some people
That's
saw
unfortunate.
it. Jared's seen it, and the Angry Mexican has seen it, I think. So what'd you guys think? I saw you posted your full review today, and I haven't watched it yet because I've been busy.
Bro, it's painful. I mean, if you watch it, I mean, I have to warn you, bro. It's a little bit painful to watch that movie.
It's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
It felt
It's a long
like
one,
3
for sure.
hours. It
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
like 3 hours and a half, bro. Like it feels eternity.
I got it. Okay, this is what I okay. Well, I'll let Angry Mex say his piece and then I'll say mine. But
Yeah, thank you, mate. Yeah, the movie was strange. It was strange how racist it was. I don't know if they were just self-aware or they were just trying to make jokes, but they fell flat. Like, I mean, we could talk about a little bit of scenes because are not really related with spoilers.
Yeah.
But there was a scene that was so conflicted for me when they are opening the gates to Wakanda, and they open the gates by playing the water
Drums.
goats.
Yes, I've heard about this scene. Yeah. Okay. So Wakanda, right, is supposed to be like the most technology place of all time, right? Because they were gifted by God the gift of unobtainium, right?
Adamantium,
Vibranium,
Mithril.
adamantium, whatever. Mithril, right? That's it. So they were
That's the one.
they were blessed with mithril, and because of that, they're just more advanced than any other civilization. Except that they open their doors by playing the drums. and they select their king by trial by combat to the death.
Or to the yield.
And
With a lot of
and-
drums. You forgot the
they're-
drums.
and they ride rhinoceroses into war. And it's like tribal. It doesn't make any sense. These
I
are
mean, that's-
supposed to be like the cream of the crop, and they just frequently demonstrate that they are not the cream of the crop. They are an actual ethno state. They don't let anyone come in,
Well, they didn't.
and they kind of don't let people leave.
Yeah, but it would be funny. It would be funny if the writers or creators of this thing say just like, "Oh, we made Wakanda at the ethno state because that's what we really think of America." Oh
Ugh.
my god!
So
Bro,
I guess quick question: what did you guys think of the first one, though?
I think the first one is overrated.
Yeah.
It's not bad. The first
It was
one is
fun.
not bad. I was surprised at how much I liked it, despite its glaring flaws. Mostly just because of Chadwick Boseman and Martin Luther King, Michael Jordan. Sorry, their acting is amazing,
Yes.
and that's what makes the movie good. In spite of the glaring, ridiculous plot holes and how slow it is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I do
And-
like the first movie, but the third act in particular was
Is
a little
awful.
It
First
felt
two
flat.
acts, the first two acts are honestly pretty good,
Mhm.
and then the third act just is
Yeah,
nonsense.
just how Killmonger just shows up in Wakanda and that whole transfer of power, it was just clunky and didn't quite come together as well as I'd hoped. And the fight scene at the end, the CGI is
It's so silly.
terrible.
So you have to
But-
drink the flower tea to get the superpowers, and then you drink another tea to get rid of your superpowers, and then you drink it again to get your superpowers back. That's just insane.
Yeah.
Why don't they have?
Got to make sure that trial by combat is fair, though. You know.
Why don't they just make everyone drink the tea and have a bunch of superheroes? Because in the first movie they had a whole grove of these flowers, right?
Mhm.
But they got burned up, so they can't do that anymore.
Mhm.
Why is
Yeah.
there
I
only
mean-
why is there only one Black Panther mantle?
Yeah.
If that's the
Good
case,
point.
Because he's the protector.
he's the protector of Wakanda.
The protector.
Well, I would say that I enjoyed the first particular issues with it. I don't even usually have the issue of like feeling like disliking or not liking the CGI fight at the end. Although I see it, it doesn't bother me. To me, it's still emotional enough, and all the emotional beats that have built up to it. For me, I really enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh.
You're breaking up pretty badly right now.
Am I?
Yeah, you
Dang
sound
it.
like a synthesized robot every 30 seconds.
Yeah, you sound like a.
You know what? I'm gonna have to come back because I've got to go right now anyway. So I'll pop off and I'll come back later.
That's fine.
Anyway, yeah, I'll be back later to talk my part.
Okay. I think probably the best part of the first movie is like the Vision Quest dream sequence.
Yeah. That was a
Yeah.
good part.
That part is done really well, and it's emotional, and it's good.
It's really, really emotional. It was so impactful when I first saw it, bro. It was like,
It just feels like the Lion King, except in cooler.
yeah, grown up, yeah, more mature, and the whole aspect. Not many Disney movies, at least, talk about this aspect of life after death or what
Yeah.
happens. The spirit realm, the shadow realm. I like to call it the
Shadow
shadow realm. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the flaws of the first movie is somehow they transfer into the new movie and just went into 1000. Just
And yeah, you don't have Chadwick Boseman to make up for to gloss over the plot holes.
Yeah.
yes,
You
Did
do
you
get a little cameo though from Killmonger though, right?
Yeah, it was so lame. It made no sense. For the it would have been so good to have I
He
don't know
should,
if you want me to get into spoilers, but it would have been good to have the other another person in that scene. Just saying.
he should have been recast for sure. They should have just recast him as Black Panther. Had it and had a regular Black Panther because his death just makes no sense. He dies of some disease, right?
It's undisclosed.
It's undisclosed.
Disease.
But the Wakandans literally have like a stasis technology,
Yeah,
and they
Bucky was on.
and they chose not to save his life.
Nah, bro, the white boy Bucky was more important than
Yeah,
T'Challa.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they maybe okay, dumb joke. Maybe they made a whole scene about we cure him like okay, old school recasting trope that we cure him, but his face got all messed up, so we had to
Yeah.
make a major reconstruction.
Yeah.
I mean
And-
that would have been better,
You know,
honestly.
and honestly, half the white people wouldn't have noticed the recast anyway. So
Bro, my girlfriend made such a great joke when we was watching the movie, because I was almost screaming in the theater when the water bongos were. I was like, "What?" And she was like, "No, it makes sense because white people would not be able to make a rhythm, so they would not be able to go in." And I was like, "Oh my god, if they made it because of that, that sounds like something Hollywood probably would think."
but the most important question regarding all of this conversation is, did you feel represented as a Mexican with Namor?
El niño sin amor. Bro, the funniest thing, and I was talking about this ever since the trailers, and we had at least a better idea of what Namor or Namor would look like, and the Aztec, the Mayan think of part of it was actually pretty well researched. They had actual Mayan paintings, and they actually look like Bonampak, which one of the
Yeah,
sites in
yeah.
Chiapas
I
where
saw
I'm from.
the set stuff.
Yeah.
Like it looked good in regard to the Mayan stuff. It's
Yeah.
just that Namor isn't Mayan.
And the Telocan is supposed to be Aztec, so it was really
Yeah.
it was really weird. It was
Yeah,
a mess, but
those are different, guys.
Yeah,
Aztecs and Mayans are different.
it felt good Mayan representation. But when you really really think about what Namor is, which is basically a Mexican mermaid incel, he was someone
Like
who crossed the
Hermes.
border, who swims to cross.
Yeah, he's trying to get into Americanda. He's
Yeah.
he's not sending over his best people, his bad hombres, right?
He literally said that,
Wow.
"Oh, we're going to send our bad hombres there, and we're gonna tear you apart. We're gonna send an army of angry Mexican mermaids." Or I was expecting them for us to start singing La Bamba to make people jump out of out of the boat. And holy,
I would love that. A fight scene to La Bamba.
That
That would be epic.
there
That
has to
could work.
be there has to be. Did the Nacho Libres did something like that? I hope so. I don't
Yeah.
remember quite, but that sounds like a great idea.
That would be
Yeah.
good. Guardians of the Galaxy with
Oh yeah.
Yo, that's a
That would
great
be
idea.
great.
stylized, just ridiculous.
I mean,
fight scene.
it would be kind of weird if they make like a Mexican villain and they just start playing La Bamba while he does it. I mean, sounds like pretty Hollywood, like, let's just say. But
Yep.
yeah, and the whole thing with white people, they have an obsession with white people. Every white person is the police officer, the person in the government, the bad person in the government, the boss, uh, the colonizer. They call him a colonizer when he's He's giving his life for Wakanda. Literally, he went to federal prison on a maximum security transportation device or whatever car, and they still call him a colonizer. I was
Hmm.
losing my mind over it. Like, what? Did he ever try to colonize? I mean, he tried to go for the for your resources, but I don't know much about colonization.
It's
Yeah.
silly.
It was really weird. It fell off. Felt like there was an angry Mexican. There was an angry person behind the scenes. Probably an angry white person, white liberal behind the scenes, just saying, "Oh, f these white people and f these Mexicans" or something like that. I don't know. It was really weird. It was really weird.
Was there anything redeemable about the movie? Anything good?
Mm,
Jared,
Um,
you're usually the optimist.
well, here's my piece. Here's here's my okay. Well, let me see if I can answer the question first. I think there were some cool visualization stuff. Right, like there were some. It was there were some pretty moments. So that's maybe the parts that were good about the movie.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, like they're trying to represent this African culture, right? Like whether it's done successfully or not, I don't know. Um, but I think they're trying to represent more of that in films. We don't see a lot of that represented in film, and so
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to see that they're trying to do more of that. But so those are two things that I think were probably good about the movie. But I think straight off, I have to say, if I hadn't gone with my wife, I probably would have fallen asleep because I literally was like I was in the theater and she like had to like nudge me and I was like oh yeah, okay, I'm awake now, like I literally first off 3 hours, there was no need for that movie to be 3 hours long.
Hmm.
Like a lot of it was just like, oh, we're so sad that Chad that the Black Panther's dead, and there was all this mourning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was literally falling asleep for the first 2 hours, and then I realized, oh shoot, I've been watching this movie for 2 hours and nothing has happened.
Yeah,
Like
it
literally nothing happened in the first 2 hours.
the Chadwick Boseman stuff just felt super exploitative
mhm.
rather than in a way to honor him.
Bro,
Yeah,
and
like I mean, at the first they had all this stuff with like him on the side of buildings and stuff like that. Like they're doing his funeral and things. I'm like, okay, this is great. This is a great tribute to him to show, hey, like we're trying to honor his memory. But yeah, the rest that was literally like the first 5-10 minutes. Alan, I have to say that was hilarious.
I almost lost an eye.
Anyway, but yeah, so like the first 5-10 minutes was a good tribute to him, and then I was like, I don't understand what is going on or why we're doing this. Half
I
the
for-
time I was like,
I
what?
forgot I had a straw in the cup, and I went to drink regularly.
you stab your eye.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that was the hardest part with for me is that I didn't feel like there was really any narrative at all.
Yeah.
Like it was all about, hey, I'm mourning my brother, and then they get like it was weird. Like they have this Namor show up, and he like tries to explain his reasons for attacking everybody and stuff like this, and then
His opening scene, he murders a bunch of people,
yeah, well that's the thing, right? So like
and then
he's
tries to
obviously
be
the villain.
sympathetic.
Yeah, and so you're like, yeah, so he tells this backstory to try to get you to understand, like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this.
This is why I'm murdering everyone.
Yeah, and then there's this part where literally he shows up to the queen, and he like gives him this conch shell and is like, hey, like I need you to find this scientist, and then when you find this scientist, blow in this and put this in the ocean, and then you'll call her and call us, and we'll come get her. But then later, like they find the scientist, and then they're like, oh, kill the scientist, and then they fight him, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we got to take the scientists back." We're like, "Wait, like what? What just happened?" First off, you wanted the conch shell so that you could take the scientists into the water or whatnot.
Well, scientists
Now you wanna
scientists
kill
are
her, but now
known
you're gonna take
as
her back.
scientists are known as good fighters usually.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right. So like there were just so many things like that where I was like, what? Like, what was their motivation? What is this? What are they trying to do? Like, what is the point of this? And so it was very confusing. There was a lot of times like that where I just was confused, and then half the time I wasn't interested for 2 hours because I was like, all right, like when are we actually going to get to some good narrative part? And then after 2 hours, I was hoping for something, and then finally they got into like a battle, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then like even that was anticlimactic. I was like, this is. So then I was like, oh, great. So now it's been 2 hours and 45 minutes, and all I got was an anticlimactic battle that like didn't really resolve anything, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie finally ends, and the post-credit scene is milking Chadwick Boseman's death again.
Yeah.
Was that the only post-credit scene?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People were like, seriously, we were gonna sit there, but like, luckily before I had heard some things that like people
Don't
were
stay for the
furious that there was
credits.
only one scene, and so we were gonna sit there, and my friends were like, yeah, we gotta watch all the credits, and I was like, no, guys, there's only one, and they're like, no way. But yeah, there was only one, and everybody's been furious about that. But I was like, yeah, get me out of here. Like, I'm done with this movie. Like, I could have been done with this movie 2 hours ago. Seriously.
Bro, I was so angry with the movie that I left before the credit scenes. I didn't even know that was the credit scenes. I was just like, I'm done with this movie. I just want to go home and cry in my bed until I get.
It's
fall asleep.
just Shuri crying. That's it.
Yeah, there was a lot of
And
that.
and it's a montage of clips of Chadwick Boseman from Black Panther 1.
Well, no, well, like there wasn't like other than that first thing, like paying tribute to him. There was nothing else. You didn't see anything else with Black Panther from the other stuff. Like that's the thing. Like you don't even see Black Panther until the last like 30 minutes, and you're like, what the fetch? Like we've waited 2.5 hours to bring finally some sort of Black Panther into this movie. Like this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I like how Namor proposes marriage, though, after murdering a bunch of people. That's
Oh, to the queen, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to ingratiate yourself.
Yeah.
It's a good dowry.
Tried and true tactic.
Yeah, I know that some people kind of liked it, but I'm like, I did not really enjoy it at all. I was not at all enthralled.
Your brief summary of the film has made our audience fall asleep. So thanks for that.
Good.
Sorry, you guys had to go through that. It was probably better than seeing the movie.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I didn't even notice like any. I mean, I don't. You guys are talking about this racist thing, and I'm like, I didn't even see like how it was racist. But at the same time, I'm like, this movie was so. It was not worth the money that I paid to go see it for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's settled. I'm waiting for it to come to Disney Plus if I watch it at all.
Yeah, make
That's
sure you have
all
like some Dayquil or something like that.
I can send you my cam. I can send you the cam recording if you want.
No.
Probably that's better because you're basically not spending money on it, so
Yeah.
probably feels
Yeah.
better. Yeah, because spending money on this movie is
Yep.
rough. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, the only thing I'm really looking forward to coming up in Marvel is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's really the only one that I am interested in at all.
Mm-hmm.
You said
the same thing about Doctor Strange 2, though, and I was like, I'm not looking forward to that one.
I kind of enjoyed Doctor Strange 2. There were some issues with it, but I liked it.
If you remove America Chavez,
Yeah.
Honduras Chavez, you have a great movie.
if you remove the representation. You didn't like America Chavez? That
Honduras
didn't,
Chavez? No.
no,
Venezuela Chavez?
that didn't float your boat. All
No,
right,
she was really forced. Xochitl. Yeah.
Xochitl.
Xochitl.
Yeah, well, we got some bad takes because the first one has to do with Black Panther. So let's do that.
Screen rants. Bad takes.
There we go. This isn't necessarily a bad take. It's a misleading take. So Black Panther 2 box office opening weekend is the best November debut ever, which is technically correct, but still not very impressive. So have you guys seen? I saw a bunch of people on Twitter posting videos from the theater, and like they're empty theaters.
Bro, I gotta say, there's only one theater in the town that I live right now,
Mhm.
and it was empty. It was literally the only, the only, let's just say the only screening, because it was the
Yeah.
the premiere, and there were 6 person, literally 6 people aside from us, and they
Yeah.
were all basically dozing, just like Jared said. They were dozing out, and they laughed at the movie 3 times at best. And bro, Mexicans laugh at everything. You gotta. They
Yes.
they laughed. Like, I went to see Thor,
Yeah.
and everyone was laughing a lot because the movie was just full of dumb jokes, and Mexicans love them bad jokes. But my God, this movie had 3 jokes at best that kind of land. For me, it was just one joke, and I don't even remember the joke because it was so forgettable that it,
Yep.
bro,
I remember the first movie had a good joke. The sneakers joke I thought was fantastic. I made these shoes that are silent. I call them sneakers. I was like, that was a good joke. It was funny.
That was
it was,
Yeah, I think just real quick, just what the Angry Mexa brought up is something too that I realized about the movie is like the dialogue was just weird. The dialogue was really weird. Like there were so many times I was like, this dialogue just doesn't make sense, and and they were like trying to make jokes, and I was like, this is just weird dialogue. So anyway, we can get back to the screen rant, but
Well, it's that forced. I call it forced chemistry. They did the same thing with Captain Marvel, and they did it in this movie with Riri Williams. Because you guys forgot to mention, Ironheart is in the movie for reasons. But when you first meet her, they say, "Hey, I'm Ironheart, and I'm a character that's important." And then they have another character in the scene say, "I like this character, don't you?" They did the same thing for Captain Marvel in Endgame. They have Captain Marvel show up, and then Thor nods to her. Like, no one liked her in her own movie. She had zero charisma. So when she first shows up in Avengers, they have Thor, who's everyone's favorite character, lean over and say, "I like this character. You should too."
Yep.
They're literally trying to force chemistry.
Yeah,
And
but at least,
it doesn't work when there is no chemistry.
I felt that this was even worse because the Okoye girl was literally just saying, Riri is really rude. This is how you treat your visitors or something like that. I know that was supposed to be a joke because she was no visitor. She was literally just breaking in her house or her apartment. But 1 second she says, "Oh, this one's really rude." Then she throws something at her, and then she goes,
I
"Oh,
like
I like
her."
this girl." What the hell?
She was rude to
What?
me and threw something at me, and now I like her.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it was weird.
This is a good point. Yeah, this is hard to believe when you're told to stay away from opening weekend if you're white. So yeah, this is technically true. The problem is it's not impressive because November has never been an impressive month for movies.
Yeah.
So it made 180 million, which is good
Mhm.
for an opening weekend. The problem is you have to look at it within the context. So if you go over to Box Office Mojo, I love this website, right? This is the MCU and opening weekends, right? So these were the big ones. Endgame made a ton of money on opening weekend and almost got to $1 billion. It's not quite as popular as Star Wars, right? Those Star Wars made billions. But this is really, really good performance. And right next to it is Spider-Man No Way Home. That came out the same year, guys. So 260 opening weekend and almost as much as Avengers. That's super impressive. And it's not even counting the re-release. They re-released Spider-Man No Way Home and made another 9 million. So
I went to see it in the re-release. I mean,
yeah, it's
decent
good.
movie.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So
Fun movie.
So this is the most recent movie to compare it to. But you want to, so like the average, like if you scroll down to like halfway through the list, right? The 20s or 15,
Yeah.
you got Guardians of the Galaxy. 100,000 on opening weekend. 3 times that for the whole run. This is the average Marvel movie. And even that's probably pretty good. But by today's standards, this would be very disappointing because you also have to realize that this 180 million, you need to cut that number in half because movie tickets are twice as expensive as they used to be. Adjusted for inflation, this number is really, really bad. You also have to analyze the current trend of MCU movies, and not including Spider-Man because it doesn't really count as an MCU film. So, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was close. It got the same opening, 180, but then like barely doubled that for its full run.
Mm-hmm.
And MCU Phase 4, this has been the case with all of them. They will have a strong opening weekend, but then the full run does not have the legs that they're used to. So,
Yeah.
like, see, Guardians of the Galaxy makes triple the run, right? Thor: Love and Thunder, that's a strong opening.
Early twice. Yeah.
It only makes twice, like the first week times 2, and that's the full run. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the list to get to Shang-Chi, which made let's be generous, 80,000, and then runs out of steam. Right? It used to be the case where opening weekend was a lot smaller, right? But then you'd get a longer run.
Why don't you organize this by the release date so we can kind of see?
So Eternals,
Oof.
70 million, barely. That is so bad.
That is rough, bro. That movie lost money literally.
Shang-Chi.
Like, that movie,
Mhm.
there's no way they make the movie money back.
Oh, I thought, yeah, and it did worse. Yeah, it did worse than Black Widow. I thought Black Widow was the worst one. So yeah, Black Widow, like that is not a good conversion rate from opening weekend.
Yeah.
So it used to be, the opening weekend used to actually be a lot smaller. It used to be like 50 or 60,000 was what you expected, but then it would run for longer.
Yeah.
Right? This is more impressive
Oof, yes.
than this, right? And so the trend has shifted, Phase 4, this has been the case for almost every Phase 4 movie, is they do have a strong opening weekend, but then it doesn't have legs, with the exception of No Way Home, which was just fantastic. That made so much money.
Not even Marvel, Sony, right?
So the point is, the reason why this is happening is that the Marvel fan base is it's not as existent anymore. You have a small group of passionate fans, and they're the only ones left. They will go out and see the Marvel movie opening weekend, but a regular audience isn't going to just, hey, let me just pop in and see this random MCU film that's in the middle of this thing, and I won't understand the context.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, superhero fatigue is not even, it's Marvel fatigue. It's not even superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Black Adam made almost that amount. It made like 150, something like that.
Yeah, how much did Black Adam make? I should have brought Black Adam up, huh?
Yes, that's another issue with Marvels too, because they have everything wrapped up in the MCU. You kind of feel like you have to watch everything in order to watch the next thing because they all
Oh,
connect.
never mind.
Yeah, so this is more like a regular release, but it's gotten 3 times that since.
Wow. Oh, that's impressive.
Almost, yeah.
300 worldwide, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And DC movies have always made less than MCU because they
Right.
haven't been as good.
Mhm.
That's actually, that's not great, but that's pretty good for DC right now.
I mean, it's gonna make probably, I don't think it's gonna make more than most of the movies, than Shang-Chi, Eternals, Black Widow, those flops. It's probably
Yeah.
going to, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a good start. Oh, you also have to take in consideration, they're starting these movies on Wednesday now.
Mm-hmm.
So the weekend release is twice as long as it used to be. It used to be Friday. You have 3 days to see the movie, and now you have 5. So take into inflation and that. This number is not as impressive as it sounds, and it's not going to keep going. This movie will be lucky to make what Multiverse of Madness made.
Yes.
And I think Doctor Strange only made that because of
Doctor Strange.
the director, yeah. But you also see in these movies, you see a delay in audience retention. So if you can have a bad movie and it will perform well, but the next movie won't perform well.
Mhm.
That's what happened with Star Wars. So you had The Last Jedi, which made as much money. It made the same money that Force Awakens made.
Right. But it divided the fan base.
Divided the fan base. A lot of people hated it.
Rise of Skywalker was not as good.
Solo.
Oh,
Solo came
Solo. Yeah,
out.
Solo was
No one saw it.
terrible.
That got even more
Showing,
people
anyway.
mad. Rise of Skywalker was a complete failure.
Yep.
I don't even know if they broke even on that because they had to do so many reshoots.
Oof,
They probably made money on it. But
that's rough.
anyway, the point is, this isn't the only article like this. Everyone's been saying Black Panther has had a wonderful opening weekend. It's kind of a lie. It's intentionally misleading.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I really hate all this box office talk because they're always dancing around the numbers. Say, oh, it has the best opening weekend for something on this week or on this month or compared to whatever else is in the theater. It's like just
It's the best ever performing opening weekend that started on a Tuesday that included a holiday on the 5th week of November on a leap year, right? They just you add so many qualifiers, you can break records wherever you want. It's a misleading statistic.
Yep.
So, well, yes, it is a good opening. It's not a good sign. And it nowhere compares to what the first Black Panther made in it, and there's no way it's going to make $800 million.
Nah, no way, hell. It's probably going to start like you said, just barely twice.
Which is
Barely twice
weird.
as much.
Which is weird because the Marvel execs said that Black Panther Wakanda Forever was basically like The Godfather.
You keep telling yourself that.
This is
Bro,
the
the
This is the
Godfather.
Godfather of superhero movies, guys. This
Mexican
sound
Godfather, probably.
this sounds crazy, but I'm going to say it. You'd be right. It sounds very crazy. There is a little bit of a mob movie to this. There's a little bit of The Godfather. Sounds like I'm being insane. You'd be correct. There's that feeling of families of war, because this movie is very much about Wakanda finding an equal to itself and Namor's world of Tulkan. But these isolationist nations, they even admit it right there. Ethno state. Not a good thing, guys. These isolationist nations that are incredibly powerful, probably more powerful than any other nations in the world, are figuring out how they can both coexist. The film is very much about Wakanda opening up its borders to some degree and impacting Namor's world. Wasn't the first movie about this decision, though? Wasn't the first movie, the whole crux of that was whether or not Wakanda should open their borders? And at the end of the
Civil
movie, they
War,
decided, yes, we will open our borders.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you made the same movie again.
Mhm.
And impacting Namor's world in a way that is unexpected. Namor kind of comes to Wakanda with a proposal that's not unlike, one of the 5 families coming with a proposal. And Wakanda is having to figure out how to negotiate this world power that isn't afraid of it, frankly. Here's the thing. That doesn't sound like The Godfather. In his explanation of why this movie is like The Godfather, he doesn't realize what The Godfather is about. The Godfather is about corruption.
How power corrupts
It's
the
about
mind of
it's about generational warfare and the inevitable corruption that causes everyone involved. That's not this.
Yeah.
Also, you're comparing your movie to The Godfather? One of the greatest films of all time?
Jesus.
did
You
it
have
feel
to have an ego to you have to have an ego of the size of a mountain to be able to say that kind of stuff. Like, it makes no sense. Why do you even compare it to? You can say any other movie. Maybe compare it to a western. Maybe that makes more sense. Not even a good western, but why The Godfather? Like, it feels so weird. Like, they're saying that the mob, like the Mexicans, are like the crime, organized crime. I mean, that's fun. That's a fun thought.
The sheer hubris of this man. Sorry, I'm catching up on everyone's comments now because I was involved in reading. A lot of people haven't seen Eternals or Shang-Chi yet. Yeah, I didn't watch them right away.
Mhm.
The first 3 or 4 movies I mentioned, you haven't even seen.
You're not missing on anything, bro. Like, don't ever watch Black Widow, sorry.
I still have not
Eternals.
seen Black Widow.
Me neither. I'm only seeing like the reviews, and I know already that's terrible.
That's the only one I didn't watch, though.
There was like one scene or 1 or 2 scenes in Black Widow that were amusing.
This is a good question.
But,
I have not seen the new All Quiet on the Western Front yet. I've heard it's fantastic. I do like the book, and I have seen the old movie. It is a good story if you want to kill yourself. No, it's one of those. It's one of those things that you have to suffer through. Like, it's not pleasant, it's not fun, but it's really poignant.
Mhm.
And you kind of have to psych yourself up to watch it.
Yeah, it's like watching the Schindler's List.
Which is
Mm,
why I
probably.
have not watched the new one yet, because I've been kind of depressed, and I don't want to see it yet. I will, but I'm not in the headspace to watch
Yeah.
it.
Get in a good state of mind, bro.
It is
like,
beautiful story, and telling it from the Germans' perspective was absolutely brilliant. Great story. Yes, it's on Netflix, which I will have at the end of this month again. For like 1 month. Whenever it comes out, that's it. That's the show that we need to watch on this together. Is the creators of Dark, which is the best show on Netflix. They have a new show coming out. It's about a boat. It's about a boat in the middle of the sea, and there's crazy stuff happening. And when it comes out, we're gonna watch it on the show, and it's gonna be real good. It's like 1822. It's a date. I don't remember which date.
I saw the trailer for that, and I was intrigued.
It looks freaking good.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Dark, best sci-fi ever. It's in German, and you have to read subtitles the whole time. But by the time you're done, you can kind of like pick up a lot of German. I learned that's what kindergarten comes from, because kinder means children in German. So kindergarten is literally a garden for children. That's a side note. Okay. Well,
I gotta be honest. That's why I haven't seen it. Is the whole German thing.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. And don't do dubs. The dubs they're pretty good quality. It's just that the voices just don't quite like match the characters, and like it's worth it. It's so worth it. Dark is incredible.
Yeah.
It's so freaking good.
Bro, talking about Netflix, whenever you get your Netflix account back, watch the Apocalypse of the something like that. The new Graham Hancock show is so good. Check it out. Apocalypse, or just check out Graham Hancock.
Revelation.
No, just Google.
I'll look it up later.
Okay. Yeah. It's good.
More bad takes. Here we go. Workers accuse Amazon's rings of power of environmental damage in New Zealand. The rumors are this is why they had to leave New Zealand.
Yep.
Because the production was so mismanaged that they permanently damaged the landscape of New Zealand.
Yeah, apparently they had a whole bunch of like foam set pieces that were just like broken up into pieces, and they buried and left in New Zealand. They didn't bother cleaning them up at all.
Yes, the wall of ice that's in the show, a grand total of 3 seconds, was built practically and then destroyed a day after. Like it existed for a day.
Yep, and they just left all the plastic and styrofoam pieces in New Zealand, buried it in the ground, and they were not invited back.
Bro.
It's like seriously.
Bro, the thing I know a few people from New Zealand. One of my professors did his master degree there, and he married a New Zealander, whatever they're called. But they are really they really care about the environment. That's the one thing that I know that they care about,
because it's beautiful there,
right?
And they want to preserve it.
Yep.
But what, like, this is the thing with leftists, though. Like, I appreciate people that actually are liberal, and they say, okay, we care about the environment, and actually do their work, their job. They do all this hippie kind of stuff, but they do stuff for the environment. But then they are the leftists that say that they care about the environment, but then they leave a freaking wall of styrofoam just to rot there in.
They've been dancing around this for a long time, though. Like they gave no explanation as to why they had to leave New Zealand and go and move production to England. Like people just assumed it was because of COVID restrictions, which just doesn't make sense. Because if you look at their production, they had 15 extras in that was the maximum number of extras. So that doesn't add up. Here's the quote from a guy, a worker, told the Guardian, these massive ice walls and rock wall set pieces, they smashed into a million pieces. If anyone went and sat outside one of these big productions and saw how many skip bins were going out every day, truckloads and truckloads and truckloads of polystyrene and timber and all the rest of it mixed up in plastic and really just thrown into a hole in the ground and then covered back up.
Not even separating the goddamn trash, bro. That's so easy to do. Just don't throw the trash in the organic with with the non-organic. Like what?
They got kicked out of New Zealand. These showrunners are completely incompetent.
They are even evil, bro. That this is evil.
Well, now we know
And
where all the money went. They built the ice wall practically. It didn't even look good. The one scene where she's climbing it, it looks completely CGI.
I thought it was CGI.
So why bother?
Even the wall in the season 4 of Game of Thrones when they are climbing the wall with Jon Snow, that
good.
looked good.
Yeah, they might be talking about the ice wall that she punched through.
Oh,
but even then, it's
no, that wouldn't have been made of polystyrene. It was see through.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there were 2 ice walls in the show,
bro.
so
But
I don't know which one they're talking about.
Gojira made a great point, bro. Aren't these the same people screaming green?
Green, yeah.
Yep. It just
The
proves that
Green
they
New
don't
Deal.
care. This was just a cash grab. They bought this thing. They thought it was going to pay off. And
This
they don't care about it.
pisses me off. Like, I hate it when people say that conservatives don't care about the environment. I hate litter so much. I can't tell you how many times I've volunteered cleaning up highways.
Yeah.
Our church did it all the time. I was in Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout. Okay, I'm an Eagle Scout. On my honor, right? I love the environment, and I despise people who litter. It's just so arrogant and selfish. I just don't agree that your proposals to fixing the environment would do anything other than launder money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or are they even based on reality? You know. Like,
yeah, it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, in 8 years we're going to go away with the human is going to exist.
Greta, you know, they champion Greta Thunberg because she's a young activist, but the things that she's proposing would literally kill millions of people.
Yeah, well, millions of brown people. She doesn't care about brown
right.
people.
Oh yeah, they don't count.
Yeah, they don't matter. Bro, but how many times have I cannot
leave it to freaking Rings of Power to make me get political on the show again.
And it's Yahoo News. It's not even like a conservative. Like it's Yahoo News. Like,
yep.
Yeah, and it feels like you said, bro. Like they tell us that us conservatives we don't care about the environment. You know how many leftists have screamed at me, telling me, "Yeah, you wanna keep the environment. You're gonna kill the little." Whatever, the animals or whatever. They're so dumb. Jesus. Bro.
They think that getting rid of farming will save the environment. That's nonsense.
Well, those activists are just literally they have something bad on their brain. I believe it has something to do with evolution. Maybe they are more Neanderthals than Homo sapiens sapiens. But it's weird. It's weird. They don't have the brain in the right spot. Let me tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ocean litter is very infuriating.
Bro.
Oh man, that Mexico.
Are you going to Mexico, bro?
Here's the thing, Mexico. I love Mexico, but it pissed me off so much. I was in Guadalajara, and the north end of Guadalajara. It's called Zapopan. It's technically a different city, okay, and there is a giant cliff face with a river, a natural waterfall, and it is just this huge expanse of this natural cliff face and this beautiful scenery. But Zapopan is the poor part of Guadalajara. There are lots of poor parts in Guadalajara, but Zapopan is one of the more poor parts of Guadalajara. And the poor people they have houses right up on the edge of this cliff. And what's sad is this scenery that I described sounded beautiful, but it was the most disgusting place I've ever been on earth, because the river was made of poop, because they don't have
Sewers,
waste.
yeah.
They don't have sewer systems, apparently, in Mexico. So they literally just have a pipes that dump the poop. They dump their poop into the river. So you have a waterfall made of poop, and the people who live in the houses on the side of the cliff don't care about anything, and they throw their garbage down the cliff,
Right
and
at
it's
it.
piled up so high. You have mountains of garbage, all that lead up to the top of the cliff. This could have been literally a paradise on earth. It could have been the most beautiful place. And I tried to like filter that stuff out and see the beauty behind it, and it was disgusting.
Yeah, the Mexicans don't care about the environment, bro. I mean, Zapopan is a mess. The crime is you go to Zapopan, you go there to get robbed. Don't go to Zapopan, bro. Everyone knows that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
I was
of
there for
places
6 months.
Holy moly!
That's where I told the story a couple of weeks ago. That's where I got a couch thrown at me
Oh, yeah, nice.
from a
That
second
makes
story
sense.
building.
That
Did it
makes
then
sense.
go over the waterfall over the cliff?
Yeah, I was walking down the street, got hit by a couch, knocked me down the waterfall.
Down
I
the-
did this, and this
crap
wasn't
waterfall.
in the same location. This wasn't in Zapopan, but I did fall into a river of poop.
Holy bro, that makes
It
more
was
sense
not
because
pleasant.
I was thinking in Guadalajara, it was really weird but in Zapopan, that makes a whole lot of sense now.
That was in
now-
Ruiseñores. I fell into a river of poop because when it monsoons, when it rains, the sewers back up and flow into the streets, and it created a sinkhole, and I fell in
Yeah.
to a sinkhole of poop.
That's a big problem in Mexico. Like floods like a lot of rivers of poop. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yes,
mean-
Martina. It was a whole couch. It was a love seat, 2-seater with cushions still attached. Thrown from the second story, hit me in the head. It was back of the neck, head, right there, couch.
Yeah, bro. That's why I always say if you want to visit Mexico, you cannot leave the hotel.
It's basic. Here's the rule of thumb is if you're going to Mexico, it's kind of like going to see Wakanda Forever. Don't go on the opening weekend if you're white, and don't leave the hotel.
I mean, you gotta have a friend there. Like, if not, it's going to be really hard to be leaving the hotel. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, the Mexicans like to. Yeah.
There are a lot of things I absolutely love about Mexico.
The food
but
is.
I wasn't a fan of the poop waterfall.
We got.
Thanks, Rings of Power. Bringing back those suppressed memories.
This kind of reminds me of another segment we tried to do once, where we tried to do the grieve your air.
Air your grievances.
Grievances, yeah.
All right, air your grievances. Mexico, I got a problem with you. But what's
I
the
think
verdict?
David,
What's the
did you ever
verdict?
get yours? Did you air your grievance?
Yeah,
I did, yeah.
It was disappointing. to say the least.
Oh, maybe that's why it's canceled. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
well,
He
I think-
complained that I didn't have him on the first episode of this show because he hadn't read or watched The Wheel of Time.
I'm just saying, as the
Like,
longest
I've been on
running
every
member
show
of the
you
show,
ever Jared was on that first episode, so you were the second longest running member of the show. Thank you very much. Jared
I've
did take a
been
break.
I've
Jared
been
did take
on
a
more
pretty long
episodes
break
than Jared.
to get
That's what I'm
married,
saying.
though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this might be the first air your grievance that the people side with you.
I'm trying to
Anyway,
think of
take
a funny pun. A Scheidel wave. So
There you go.
Yeah. What were we doing? Bad takes? Okay. So Collider gives us 5 reasons that the House of the Dragon is better than Game of Thrones, but also 5 reasons that it's not better.
Can't pick a
than
side.
Game of Thrones.
Oh my god.
Honestly, this article is not bad,
Yeah,
but this is the stupidest title ever.
the title's pretty bad.
Just make up your mind and then prove your point. You can include counterpoints, but 5 reasons why we made a decision, and then 5 reasons why our decision was stupid.
Yeah, who's even?
Look,
Who even wants
this
to
is more
read it?
accurate. It's time for a head-to-head comparison. Let's say the the pluses and the wins and loss. So stupid. Okay.
Yeah,
But it
apparently
starts-
people like when you do countdowns. Like something
Mhm.
to do with the algorithm. Top 10s do good, top 5s or something like that. So
Yep.
some reason triggers people to read.
Well,
So
let's break
stupid.
down their reasonings.
It starts off really stupid though. The story better. It's better because the story is finished.
I
Sure,
mean-
but that wasn't. That was a factor to Game of Thrones. It wasn't the core problem. Was they just gave up? Okay, and worse, the time skips. So there were lots of time skips in House of the Dragon,
Okay,
but they worked
they
really well in
they weren't
telling
like-
the story.
they weren't like winter time skips when you didn't know they were happening, and then until 3 episodes in, you're like, wait, something's weird with the time.
There
And
was
then it
like
comes together at the very last
Yeah.
episode, and like that was dumb and it didn't pay off.
there was literally only one aspect of the show where I was like, I wish they would have explained what happened during that time skip, and it was literally just not Loris, the hot tempered guy,
Cole.
Cole. Yeah, it was literally just how did Cole not get executed and still keep his job? Okay, the time skips doesn't make the show worse. I would argue it makes the show better.
Yeah.
But you know what? Do you know what also makes the show better? The time skips.
No way. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh my god! Like
One
people
foot
are
on
living.
both sides of the fence. They just can't. They can't commit, can they?
What is wrong with you, Collider?
Some people are just living contradictions, bro.
Worse, the lack of location variety. I wouldn't say that this is worse. I would say it made the story a lot easier to follow.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
in Game of Thrones
which
sometimes. Yeah.
is basic. That's how Game of Thrones started too. You pretty much stayed with the Starks the
Mhm.
whole time.
Right. And
There
you're
were a couple scenes elsewhere, but
and they're
as the
comparing-
series progressed, it got bigger and bigger. That's how you make a show.
Yeah.
You start off small, and then you can keep adding more and more intricate pieces.
Yeah, but
and
sometimes
also-
the Daenerys part of the story sometimes went a little bit off the rails with the whole because
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
they were not doing a great adaptation. I'm pretty sure in the books they handled the trips, to to the east. Let's just say that
Mhm.
way better, right? But in the show was one day they are in this place, and the one day they're on. I just forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot
Yeah,
the place.
it,
It's been a long time
Yeah.
since I watched
I
the
think
Okay.
House of the Dragon kind of did it better with locations.
Yeah.
Gorilla
But-
says that Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 4 is better than House of the Dragon season 1. A lot of people agree with that statement.
Mhm,
I personally enjoyed House of the Dragon more,
mhm.
but a lot of that has to do to the fact that I'm a good Christian boy and I don't want to see boobies.
But also
Mm,
on here,
that's
they're comparing the first season of House of the Dragon to all
Four. Yeah.
But
seasons.
the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones are fantastic. Very
Yes.
I would say they're very comparable. I
Home.
think it's a personal taste that I liked House of the Dragon better. Hard Home, yeah, yes. The episode
5 episodes.
that episode alone is probably better than anything we've seen in House of the Dragon, but I have a feeling that won't be the case for very long. House of the Dragon.
Oh yes.
House of the Dragon is building really well, and I think we'll see some cooler stuff. But Hard Home was
Yes.
that's a really good episode. That's the
Was-
first time that's the White Walker episode that's super good.
That was probably the beginning of the end, because that's for me.
That
That's
was
the
yeah, that's the problem. That's the last good episode of Game of
the
Thrones.
last, at least the last good fight since the last great epic showdown. That was it, because the other the battle of
I
the
enjoyed
Bastards,
I enjoyed the Battle of the Bastards. The problem was that the rest of the season.
yeah, but for me it was like the what Hard Home was really smart. The way they handled the conflict,
Really smart.
really smart.
Yes.
Battle of the Bastard had a little
The
bit
framing around Battle of the Bastards was a little bit ridiculous.
yeah,
But it was executed just beautifully.
the visuals were impressive.
the scene with Jon Snow
His
with their army getting suffocated and him climbing through the bodies is
You could feel the suspense.
one of the most visceral things I've ever seen on camera.
Mhm.
It was like I have a little bit of claustrophobia, and that was effective.
Exactly.
So, location variety, better, more dragons.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Sure, I think
Yeah.
there's more dragons. I would argue that the magic and the dragons isn't really what made Game of Thrones special. It was the good methodical storytelling, and that's also present in House of the Dragons. But it also has dragons, and it's fine. I'm glad that wasn't the focus of House of the Dragon. It very easily could have been like dragons, dragons, dragons. You like Game of Thrones, but it wasn't. The focus of House of the Dragon was the political intrigue, and there happened to be a bunch of dragons.
Yep. Exactly.
And I
And
was
the good
very
thing
afraid that it would be the opposite.
You think it was just going to be dragons dancing, dragons just doing everything. But the thing I also liked about the dragons was that there
They were
were
all unique.
unique designs. Every
Mhm.
dragon had a unique design
Yeah. That was
that
cool.
wasn't paired with.
Yeah, you
their
couldn't tell the
personality.
3 dragons apart in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They were identical.
Yeah, I didn't even know which was which. I don't even know which was left alive.
Yeah,
was
but the dragons have personality.
here. Yes.
Yeah, House of the Dragon had better character development because they're not following 30 characters. Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's
There's a
super fun.
big cast in House of the Dragon too, though. It's a big cast. Oop.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got-
if you, I mean, if you
Sorry.
double, basically,
You can
Oh,
totally
you're back.
replace him with me. That's fine. Yeah.
I
We
was
did
trying-
that a few weeks.
another arrives.
I was trying to add other Jared, and I accidentally got rid of Jared Prime. So worse. Now this is the first really good point. The actions have no consequences, and that's pretty much my only complaint for House of the Dragon. This is true. Like Cole doing the murder, and then nothing happens, and then he does it again. and nothing happens, and then he does it again, and there are no consequences. Equally like the big joust in episode 1, those were noble houses jousting each other, and half of them got murdered. And most people wouldn't be okay with that.
That felt like they, to me, the reason it didn't bother me is because it felt like the show itself was saying, yeah, we know this is a little bit weird, but it is what it is. Because they were saying, like, yeah, they want to be here killing each other, and they accept that. And even with Christian Cole or Crispin, whatever his name is, not getting punishment, it was to me it was a show don't tell of, like, he got protected by the fact that he's working with the Queen.
Right.
So that was why I took it.
There are ways to explain it. Yes, it's still a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, it was weird.
The murder, the people who got killed in the contest, that was added from the books, and it was added to be a little excessive. Which is actually their last point, is that it's. We'll get to that later, but obviously the biggest example is Rhaenys and the freaking murdering a third of King's Landing for no reason. So this is good point, Collider, the first good one you've made. What's better is the Targaryen brothers. Hell yeah. Good point. This scene, I'm
to this day makes me.
I'm getting tear. I'm literally getting emotional looking at that picture because that scene was phenomenal. And then the last fewer characters to root for. I disagree. I don't think there are a lot of good characters in Game of Thrones. Like, that's always been George R. R. Martin's things, is everyone's despicable. There are a handful of good characters like Ned Stark and
for
Viserys. There are a handful of good characters like Ned Stark and Viserys, and they always die.
Yep.
So I disagree with this. And then the last point, there's more than one last point. This is silly. I don't really care if the climax happens in the penultimate episode or the ultimate episode. I kind of liked how they did that in Game of Thrones, where it would climax and then you'd get one episode to just set up the next season or deal with the repercussions of the climax. I kind of feel like Game of Thrones did that better because I liked seeing consequences for big things. And then the last one, I already brought it up, was shocking for the sake of shock. Like, the reason they added people dying in the conquest was to say, oh, we're so brutal, but they didn't really think of the consequences of, hey, you just murdered, the son of a noble, though.
So the one question that I have with that, having not actually seen Game of Thrones, my understanding is that it was even more shocking for the sake of it stuff going on, even if it wasn't necessarily changes from the books or anything.
That's what it turned into. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because
that is not the case for the rest of the show. Like, Ned Stark. Okay, if you don't know this already, I'm sorry.
Ned dies.
Ned Stark dies in season 1.
I mean, he's played by Sean Bean. It was a dead giveaway anyway.
But for a reason. And there are consequences to his death. And when you watch it back, you're like, yeah, his death makes sense. All of these things, like he makes a mistake, and he pays for it. Like, definitely later on in the season, in the show, it becomes shocking for the sake of being shocking. But even the Red Wedding, it's definitely shocking, but it's there for a reason as well, and it's foreshadowed. God, oh gosh, they're friggin' Reigns of Castamere, baby. That is a good scene. I might just go rewatch that scene after the show.
Talking about Game of Thrones, I want to go back and watch the first season at least.
Stop at season 4 though, and maybe
obviously,
and then maybe watch Battle of the Bastards. And there was one other pretty good episode.
That Hardhome episode.
The Long Night was so freaking stupid.
Oh my god! I mean, I always watch the whole seasons because I love to get to the 8th season and just laugh the hell out of it. Just watch it like as a comedy. It's so hilarious. It's just so good.
Yeah, House of the Dragon episode 10 was fantastic. Really, really good.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and I did get the pun dead giveaway, and I wasn't going to humor it with a response. Your beard's back. Hooray. Yes, it is.
Ish.
Ish.
Beardish.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this basically should read 2 reasons why we liked House of the Dragon and 2 reasons why we didn't. The rest don't make a lot of sense.
Yep. Well, yeah, because one of their reasons contradicts the reason that they like it too.
Oh, you missed this, Jared. Look, what makes House of the Dragon worse is the time skips. But what makes House of the Dragon better is the time skips.
It's so stupid.
People that are sometimes a walking contradiction.
Yeah.
Oof.
Okay, we're almost done with bad takes, everybody.
Hey.
Why Obi-Wan Kenobi writer was frustrated working on the Star Wars show.
I think I saw another.
The
similar-
writer Andor Stanton explains why he was sometimes frustrated working on Obi-Wan Kenobi due to the limitations put in place by Star Wars canon.
It's not the right answer.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yep.
But also, you still really didn't care about Star Wars canon.
And yet nothing he did broke or had to be tied into canon. Like that's so
The whole thing is like we can't really take the story interesting places because we know where we have to end up.
Exactly.
And that was my entire point.
well, and
With why
you
I
know what?
didn't think making the show was a good idea.
Well, but to that point, I think there's still interesting story that could be told. They could have done a fantastic job.
Yes, there is an interesting
Andor,
story.
We
There is
know
a book,
where
and it's
Andor.
good.
We know where Andor goes to. We know where he ends up.
I
and
know.
you can tell
I know.
easily good
The-
story.
The
Fantastic.
irony of this coming out right now, when we're literally seeing an example of someone doing it better,
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
insane.
Bro,
With
it's
a nobody character. Nobody cared about Andor.
Mhm.
And
And
it's a great
this
parallel.
show was amazing. Everybody and their mom and their dog wanted to see Obi-Wan.
Mhm.
I was
And
so
what did they
excited
do?
because Ewan
I dropped
McGregor,
it.
Evan McGregor back as Obi-Wan, bro. It was
Yeah.
it was
big
like
news.
I was so angry with the show. I was so angry with Obi-Wan.
I just can't believe that they
Obi-Wan
didn't put all their resources into Andor instead of Obi-Wan.
No, I think the problem is they put all their resources and focus on Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, and so they were allowing the people who are actually good creators to work on Andor without them messing with it otherwise, and
Yeah, right.
therefore Andor turned out well because they were trying too
Yeah,
hard.
that makes sense. That makes
Like,
sense.
yeah.
They probably did
Well,
put all their effort into those two shows,
and-
which
and
is
I know
why
in-
they suck.
The-
That is
and I
a
know in
good point. I'm
particular-
sorry. I stand corrected.
Yeah, you're sitting down, but good enough.
I think it's just an issue with too many cooks. You know,
Yeah.
you have this big property. You're like, okay, we've got to land Boba Fett. We've got to land Obi-Wan. And they have all the big names come out and say, okay, this is what we need to do. And there's just too many people. And so both of those
Yeah.
shows just come out as a hodgepodge mesh of ideas that do not flow together because you have too many minds in there trying to
Yeah.
direct everything.
It was
It
so
just didn't
frustrating
work.
because Boba Fett and Obi-Wan in particular, you can see it with the way that people have taken even what they did shoot and are able to cut Obi-Wan down into a 2.5 hour movie that is miles better than what they actually presented on screen. That shows that they went back and forth because if you paid attention to the rumors and the different things that were coming out at different times, it was going to be a movie and then it was going to be a show and then they were like, we have everything written. Oh wait, no, we don't have. We need to go back to the drawing board and maybe we'll make it a movie. No, we're going to keep it a show. And it was just so much of that back and forth because so many people were cooks in the kitchen with it, and it got so messed up through all of that transition and revision. And it wasn't even revision because they weren't able to like fine tune the story. And I think the same thing with Boba Fett where they wanted to do Boba Fett, they were told they couldn't do it, so they did Mando instead. And then they were given the go ahead to do Boba Fett, and they couldn't do the interesting things that they wanted. And then they just kind of had to throw something together. And it's the most frustrating because the person who did such a good job with Boba Fett in Mando season 2 is the one who then was in charge of this and just botched it.
Great.
Star
rant.
Wars is dead.
But Andor is
Yes.
awesome, and
Yeah,
I
watch-
refuse to
Let it die.
me. Yep.
Yeah.
Andor's, I'm liking Andor. Or that's all the bad takes. But I got a nice spicy meme to liven things up. And it's a little bit political, but I think both sides can laugh at this joke. Okay. So we just had the midterms. I got to preface this a little bit. We just had the midterms, and I think both sides are a little bit disappointed with the outcome.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are blaming the lack of a red wave on the whole Roe v. Wade stuff, because people got upset about the abortion stuff, and so didn't vote Republican. So we got a funny. This meme is so good from the Babylon Bee. Baby's alive because of Dobbs ruling. Apologize to Republicans for disappointing midterm.
Yeah.
There we go. That's our bad takes, everybody. Oh, I laughed so hard when I saw that. Okay.
You gonna be okay?
Oh wait, no. We got another bad take. Sorry, this is a tweet.
Oh boy.
I had to pull it up on a different window because I usually go incognito when I pull up all those. I don't like what browsing Screen Rant does to my browser history, so I go incognito. This one's also political, but it's pretty funny. I wouldn't say it's political. Crazy how all non-binary chicks are either ones or zeros.
That's pretty good.
All right, let's talk about nerd stuff again.
Wow.
That's
Well,
good.
Gojira has some good points.
That's a
Yeah.
math joke, guys. That's a good
That
one.
works on so many levels.
It works out so. It's good. It's so good.
I mean, it's literally the truth. It's literally the
Not
truth.
just 2 levels. It works on more than just 2 levels. It's
That
not a binary joke.
would have been better. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are 10
But-
levels that it works on.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to listen to all of the rest of your guys' thoughts on Black Panther, but I enjoyed it. I feel like it was a lot more like the third act of the original Black Panther. I still had a lot of fun with it. I didn't get bored like Jared here did.
Yeah, we while you were gone, we all agreed that the third act of Black Panther is horrible.
I realized that.
We literally talked about this. Yeah, I liked the first two halves, the first 2/3, and then the last third was just ridiculous.
I heard most of that, and I think I was starting to say that like I'm not bothered by the last third of the original Black Panther. I still enjoy most of what is there, what happened in the third of it, even though I recognize that it's not as strong. And I feel like this one was that third part of Black Panther. So to me, I still have been able to enjoy it, but recognize it's not quite as strong. There was a lot of it was doing too much, I think, and that's why it was that 2-hour 41-minute movie, because it was doing so much. And I kind of feel bad for him because since they decided not to cast Chadwick Boseman T'Challa, they had to deal with that and some sort of a new story that wasn't just that, but also that was a very dominant part of it too. So I don't know.
Silly.
Yeah.
It was a silly choice. It's dumb. Well, I knew they weren't going to recast T'Challa.
They even said
It was the obvious
Yeah, they said
correct choice. The problem, what makes it more offensive is if you look at their history, they already wanted to replace Chadwick Boseman with a woman. That's what they've been doing with every other superhero.
Plausibly.
So him dying was like a get out of jail free card for them, and a way to insert Shuri as Black Panther, which just makes it even more insulting to me.
And Shuri wasn't even a bad character in the first movie. I
No,
actually
she's
enjoyed Shuri in the first movie because she did what she was supposed to do. Invent a lot of weird tech.
Yeah, she was Q.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Right.
the inventor. She's not a
Yeah.
warrior.
The thing about the car when she drives the holographic car, I mean, people were mad about it. I thought it was cool, but when they did it in this movie, it was so dumb. What did the nanobots on the thing that you put, like the car she was driving was not even automatic, it was manual, it was a charger from like 60 62 66 something like that. I don't know that much about cars, but it was not an electric car, it had no circuits, it had no way to connect the nanobots or whatever. What? I was like, what? I mean,
Vibranium magic.
yeah.
I don't know. I accept it. I accept it, so that doesn't bother me.
But
in any
yeah,
way, shape, or form.
you're right. There's a lot of vibranium magic.
Yeah.
Why didn't they put some like voodoo magic in the movie in the Wakanda universe? It would have been fun.
On another separate note, this thought had crossed my mind before, and while I was starting watching the movie, I realized what they're probably going to do for adamantium is it's going to be a synthetic vibranium that they come up with because the way that they were showing that everyone's trying to get tons of vibranium.
And Riri Williams is gonna make it because she's the best ever. I like her character.
Yeah,
I like.
She was
this.
whatever.
I like this comment though. The Angry Mexa looks like he's dispensing love advice over the radio with that
What's up?
plush robe.
Bro, it's cold outside. They don't have many.
They don't have carpet in Mexico either. Everything's tile, so your feet get
cold
real cold
as hell. Yeah, either wood or tile, and that sucks. Wood is even worse than tiles. Yeah, I love carpets. I always buy those small little pieces of carpet. Yeah, rocks. Those small rocks. I love them. But yeah, it's cold, and I don't have many clothes for the winter, so I just use a robe. It works though.
Yep.
All right. Well, Jared Prime, you haven't seen anything we're going to talk about, so you can peace out if you want to, or you can stay. I don't care.
I'm gonna have to go, but it's been fun talking about Black Panther and going through those screeners. So.
You should catch up on Andor though, because it is
Andor's fun. Andor's
fantastic.
I want to, and once I'm finished with school, it'll be a lot easier. But definitely still trying to balance that homework and watching.
Don't you worry, bro. Christmas.
You want things to be balanced as all things should be.
At least you're gonna have something to watch on Christmas. That's
I'm gonna have plenty of time in December. So
this episode in particular was phenomenal.
Amazing.
I absolutely loved it.
Hands down, the best one so far.
And I loved it, and then it got even better. And I was like, I thought we were done, and then it kept going, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
one of the best monologues, or two of the best monologues, actually.
The two monologues were
that I've ever seen.
Skarsgård talking to that rando guy we've never seen before.
Actually, we have seen him,
but
it took me a long time to figure out who that he was.
Yeah,
like,
we've seen him in the scenes with
the
Karen.
Imperials. Yeah,
right. But without his suit on, I was like, who the heck is this?
I legitimately was thinking it was one of the other prisoners that was in with Andor, and I'm like, oh, did we flash forward? Like,
it was the same. It was the same thing that happened when we saw Luthen's assistant in different clothes.
Yeah,
I was like,
yes.
like, who the heck
who is this
she?
character? And then we saw the other lady in different clothes, and I was like, I don't know who that is either. And I was like, wait, no, I do know who that is.
Yeah, that one was the easiest.
I think
to tell.
I might know who the other one is.
Yeah. The blonde rebel lady that turned out to be Mon Mothma's sister.
Yeah.
That was the one where it only took a split second to figure out who she was. But the rest of them, it's like,
was she a sister or niece? I didn't think they were sisters.
I thought she was
they were
a
cousins
sister.
or something.
Cousins or something like that.
They're related.
They're related.
They said your Aunt Val, I think, and so that was where I was going with sister. But yeah, related either way.
Right. Yeah, she's a lot younger than Mothma.
Mm-hmm.
I would say cousin or like niece.
Probably. Yeah.
I think it's niece because she was talking about her mom, I believe, as like her sister. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Or like sister-in-law.
But yeah, Andor is good.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally, we got something good.
And this isn't even like this was the first of the 3-episode arc, and we got
Well,
the
yes.
prison break.
And I heard
Which-
you guys talking about it last week. I think I was just hearing this last couple of weeks that they have the 3-episode chunks, and they're definitely doing that for season 2. And we were seeing some of that pattern in season 1. But I think that there was some interview where they were saying that in these last 6 ones, they did like
The last 6,
2, and then like they've got 3 or 4, and then the last 2 will be they're switching it up a little bit there, I guess.
Gotcha.
So this
Probably,
one's-
yeah. Probably it was a 4 episode.
if you take
yeah,
so if
4-episode
you
arc, and
if
then
you
another
take
2.
out episode 7, these 3 were an arc.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And even episode 7 kind of plays in with it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
So-
just-
Gojira, Andy Serkis was fantastic
Oh, yeah.
in this episode too.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So good. I
That's-
absolutely love his
That's
character.
one of the best
Oh,
things is it
he
was
probably
seeing
was the
him
best.
pop up as such a great little like, oh, Andy Serkis, that's awesome to see him popping up, and that's
yeah, I
been
was
great.
impressed when he starts like
Mm.
acting because
Mhm.
at the start he's like a little bit wobbly, but then when he gets
in.
tired and he's like, "We're not getting
Yeah.
out," and
Mhm.
holy, I was like, his vein, even his vein was popping of how
Yes.
much intensity was on that moment in the screen.
Yeah,
Well-
and I loved the twist.
Yeah. So what
At
do
the
you
very
think?
end.
What do you think?
I did not.
Was the-
I didn't see it coming,
Mhm.
and at first I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "Oh, like
So-
a lot of the stuff that he was doing prior to this, like, makes sense now. Like that, he was so invested in getting out the right way
Mhm.
because he knew he wouldn't be able to escape, and when he had to make that choice, he'd be like, "I'm not making this for me."
So you think that was kind of
That-
where he was
yeah,
at? Is he knew
that's
what
how-
was
that's
going on. He
obviously
knew it was
what they
gonna
were
result
doing.
in not being able to get out because
He
couldn't
knows
swim.
they're in the middle of an ocean.
Yeah.
That's
I
probably
agree.
the
I was
reason why
I
he
was kind of
hesitating
curious
a
though.
lot.
My
That's-
brother, when we called and
That's
chatted
why
this
he
morning,
was so hesitant.
Mhm.
And when he's after he's made the choice and he's giving the
Mhm.
speech, he has to like pump himself up. It was fantastic because Andor pressures him. He's like, not only do you have to do this escape with me, you have to be the one to go on the speakers
Mhm.
and say your freaking
Lead
name.
out. Mhm.
And so he knows this is a death sentence for me.
Mhm.
He's dead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really want to kind of
but he also
rewatch
knows
this episode.
he's the only one that can inspire everybody to do it.
Mhm.
Mm.
I kind of want to rewatch this episode knowing that because that
Yeah.
was like I was saying. My brother called and he was wondering, was like, did he somehow not know that they were in the water? Like what was? I was like, he had to have known that. But so I was wondering whether it was just he got caught up in it or he was just so angry about not being able to get out the right way that he didn't even start thinking about it till he showed up there. Because when he shows up and they're looking out the bay doors, is when he kind of you see him kind of go, I can't swim. You know, like it wasn't like he was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know there was water here, but there was still definitely a like, oh yeah, I can't swim.
There was what happened was
there was something
he
there.
definitely knew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree
When he
that
was
he
making
definitely
the
knew they
choice,
were in water. But,
But then there's which would naturally happen. There's a moment where it's working, they're being successful, and they're running, and he forgets. You know, like he's
See,
caught up
yeah.
in the moment of saying like, "Hey,
Mhm.
we're freeing everybody," but then gets hit with the
Yeah.
reminder. I
cannot
can't
swim.
I can't swim.
Yeah.
It was
I-
brutal. It was
Oh.
great.
I was
It was
wondering-
brutal. I was hoping though.
I thought that they were gonna do one of those dumb things where they stop in the middle of an action sequence and have the guy, you know, like my father got slain in battle and there are people fighting all around me, but I'm gonna take this moment to talk
Yeah.
and have a face to face. Oh, we're gonna talk for 5 minutes, and someone
Mhm.
is definitely not gonna take advantage of stabbing me in the back while I'm clearly indisposed, right? I thought they were gonna do that. And Andor just gets knocked off the platform, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Yeah, I loved it.
That was very
I loved
good.
it."
Yeah.
Mm.
I
He
only
was like,
wish
"Wait,
that,
what?" He like literally goes to talk to him, and then gets pushed off. And I was
Pushed
like,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
"That was great."
Mhm.
Yeah, it was.
It almost
fantastic.
it almost seems like he was trying to help him, or at least he was making up his mind to, oh, what I'm going to do to help him, but he just gets knocked out,
Yeah.
and that's it. The thing that yeah. So continue.
Like at every point, and this is Disney's fault because I've been conditioned to do this. At every point, I'm expecting stupid things to happen in this show.
Mhm.
Like this isn't the first time I've said like I thought they were going to do a cliche thing, but they actually did something clever. And this show has just continuously proved me wrong because it's
Mhm.
quality writing, and this moment is just another example of that.
Mhm.
This show is good. I I I expected to hate it, but it's really well done.
Yeah. The only thing I wish from that escape sequence is I wish they would have shown what happened with Andy Serkis's character.
No,
Either he
no,
gets.
I disagree.
You
I
don't think so?
completely disagree. Yeah.
No, I mean not like the end result, but I wish they would have shown him like commit and just jump off anyways, or get pushed off. They don't have to show the end result. I just wish I would have seen him off the platform in some.
I definitely see both
Or whatever.
arguments because there's something about wanting to know what happened to him and kind of how that resolves, but the storytelling aspect of
But you're following
like,
Andor in that moment.
You're following
he
Andor
gets
in that
pushed
moment.
off,
Mhm.
and he doesn't know, so you don't
Mhm.
get to know either.
Mhm.
That's a good point.
It was
Yeah.
brilliant.
That's a good
So
point.
I definitely feel wanting to know a bit more about it. But it's the sort of like kind of cliched storytelling to cut back to that, or he comes back in a scene 3 episodes from now, which you never know, it could happen, but I kind of doubt they'll do that.
I hope
These
it runs.
creators, I don't think they would do it, but that
I
would
hope-
be the kind of cliched thing, you know.
I hope they have the balls to never show him again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we
Rockstar
already know what happens to him. There is no other alternative other than execution.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was thinking
He-
about it. I was really going through all the options he has. Maybe someone, maybe he asks for help with someone. Maybe two people help him swim, but no, they are going to drown if he doesn't know how to swim. This guy
And all
is a
things
big
considered,
guy, so-
actually, it's not that hard to splash around and stay on top of the water if you're an adult.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you don't have any experience, like if you are from I don't know, from a planet where it's all desert,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
don't have any idea. I've seen people
Yeah.
that
That's a good
just,
point. Yeah.
just
I-
go
I-
down. Even
I mean,
Even
on
if
Earth,
they
there's
just-
plenty of places to swim, but yeah,
Right.
in the Star Wars universe,
On
there's plenty of
Tatooine.
planets that don't have any water. You have no
I think
experience or reference.
I think
yeah.
if they ever do show his fate, I think it will cheapen the effect.
I agree. I don't want him to. I didn't want them to show his fate. I just wanted them to show him getting off the platform, either tripping and falling with the masses or just committing and jumping. I didn't
No,
want to
you know
see. I didn't want
what
to see
would
like
have
his
been-
body wash up against the shore. I didn't want any of that. I
no,
just wanted to see him get off the platform, either
You
commit to
know-
just jumping off and say, "Hey, I'm free. This is my thing," and he just like
I'd rather
you
be
know,
free
falls-
dead in the water than
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah,
Bro, I had a
or
better
just trip
idea.
with everybody
Imagine,
else.
imagine
But
this, bro.
It was
Imagine
still
this
fine as
scene.
was.
Imagine
Go
this
ahead.
scene, bro. Like, imagine he doesn't jump because he knows he's going to die. Maybe he just, is, sits in the edge of the platform and just sees the sunrise of the
Ooh,
sunrise.
yeah. I would have been
And
okay
then,
with that.
and then the soldiers come out and just execute him right on the spot, and then he falls into the water.
Mhm.
That would have been holy moly. That would have
That would have
been
been good too.
I
Yeah.
would have been okay with that. I would have cut it sooner though. So what you could have done is you show Andor watching up on shore, and then you can cut back to Andy Serkis sitting alone, legs dangling over the side. Troopers come up behind him, and then you don't show what happens.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
and
But
I'm
yeah,
the kind of
but
person
I do like your idea. That could have worked too, but I liked how they did it.
Yeah,
I
did it
enjoy-
perfectly, in my opinion. But if you wanted, to know what happens with him, I
Mhm.
guess that's a good opinion.
Yeah, I enjoy like getting the full picture and being able to find all those small little details and having all those loose ends tied up for myself. But I definitely agree with what you're saying, Alan, in terms of like the storytelling of
It's
this
poetic.
show. That it's great to not show it. It's one of those things where it's like I'd love like a book that like talks about it sometime later or whatever, just for me, for my own personal like enjoyment of that, because that doesn't, for me, it doesn't necessarily cheapen it to know what ends up happening to them. But I agree that for the story that they're telling and for the way that they were telling the story,
Yeah.
it's absolutely the best and so much more impactful and interesting. For it
Well,
to
that
be
makes
like
sense.
that.
Jared wants his hand
So-
held the entire time. That's
Mhm.
totally
Yeah,
fine.
absolutely.
Marker has a good point. Just like Escape from Alcatraz, Alcatraz. It's just like Escape from Alcatraz.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good
that's a
point.
good inspiration from that probably.
Mhm.
Like at least they saw that movie or something, something similar. Because
Have,
yeah,
you, have you guys seen The Great Escape? with
Yeah.
with Steve
The
McQueen.
motorcycle
Hmm.
jumping up the
That one is
Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, I forgot he was in that too.
depressing as hell.
Yeah.
It's so
It's one
good
of,
though.
one of the
Poignant,
first
like you
movies
said,
though that
poignant.
I finished the movie and I'm like, wait, what? No, that can't be how it ends.
No, yes.
That,
You're
the
enjoying
oh,
so much the movie, and then the ending is so heartbreaking. It's just like, oh.
and then it turns around and does like an optimism thing, and you're like, but no, I'm not okay right now. Steve McQueen shows back up. I'm gonna go escape again. Like, did you not see what just happened?
Yeah.
We love you,
That-
Mark.
I-
We love
that
you
movie-
too.
That movie is beautiful. Oh, he was saying he loves those guys. He was saying he loves
This is
Steve
Steve McQueen and Dustin
not
Hoffman.
us. Oh, Dustin Hoffman is he's one of
Fantastic.
I think he's my personal favorite actor of all time.
Hmm.
I forgot, David. I was gonna do a movie recommendation, but it was the week that you weren't gonna be here, and you were the only other person who's seen the movie. The movie I was
Ishtar.
gonna recommend is Ishtar.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Dustin Hoffman
movie.
Actually, it's a great movie, but Dustin Hoffman hates that role.
It has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Every single critic hated that movie. It is one of the funniest comedies of all time. It is so funny. It's good. Oh, Ishtar.
Yeah, it's
Then I
one of
watched
those
that, yeah.
dry humor shows. It's not like
You and Dro-
you're on drugs. Mark, have you seen Ishtar? I'm assuming he's seen Ishtar and he hates it.
It's really good. It's
I'm just gonna
the
watch
songs.
it.
The songs in that movie are so funny.
Yeah.
Like the premise is that they're these two horrible, completely unsuccessful musicians, and they get roped up in a mistaken identity comedy where they become like the savior figures in Ishtar. It's so and their songs are so funny.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, man.
It's a family favorite.
I still remember the lyrics. Telling the truth can be a dangerous business. Honest and popular don't come hand in hand. If you admit that you can play the accordion, no one will hire you for a rock and roll band. It's so good.
Yeah. But we can sing our hearts out.
But you can sing our hearts out. And if we're lucky, then no neighbors complain. Oh.
Yep. Yeah, Mark, you're wrong. Sorry.
The best
Sorry,
scene
it's fantastic.
I'm trying to figure out if your wife is trying to kick you out now.
The last like
I don't
10
know
minutes
what
of the
those emojis
movie
are supposed to
is
mean,
just a montage of them performing a whole bunch of songs, and it's so good.
Little big man.
Dustin
Yeah.
Hoffman. Also, Stranger Than Fiction. Dustin Hoffman is fantastic in that movie. But
in Hook,
Hook,
Love him in Hook.
good stuff.
like
Was Stranger
I didn't
Than
even-
Fiction,
I
wasn't
didn't
that the
even
one with,
recognize him in there?
Will Ferrell.
With Farrell, yeah, I remember
that's
watching
a
that a little while
Brazilian
back. What did Hoffman do in that one?
He's the professor of literature who
Oh,
helps
yeah,
him.
he goes and
Who helps him
talks to-
find the author who's narrating his life.
Okay,
Fantastic
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman, he's my homeboy.
Nice.
What were we talking
Well,
about?
We were
Star
talking
Wars?
about Andor.
Juan
I think
So
we're-
I absolutely love this episode. I think it was the best episode by far. I did have a few small nitpick complaints. One is with that stupid pipe. It was so rickety. It couldn't have held any pressure at all. But suddenly it's like bursting water. So that's just a little nitpick.
Yeah, he was struggling with the pipe for a little bit too long, but you saw like every time he pulled it, like it gave a ton, and then he was still working on the same pipe, and then goes back to file it for like 2 seconds. And then,
The filing didn't seem like it should have made any
the
difference.
filing
with
was
how
so
it's
much
like
he did
Andor
on it, yeah.
either has like no muscles or this is some like space pipe where like
But that's a small nitpick.
yeah,
I mean,
But
my boy Diego Luna doesn't know how to,
yeah,
so yeah, he's too white.
he's
He's
no
too white.
plumber.
He's not
But-
Mexican
Is
enough.
that a
There you go.
nitpick?
yeah, it's nitpick. There we go.
Very nice.
What was your other complaint?
My other complaint though is when they decide that they're going to escape, right? They go back to their things. Andy Serkis has this brilliant outburst moment. It's like no one's getting out,
of
right?
here.
Now go
And
to
then
bed.
they go to bed and don't talk about it, but then they wake up in the morning and
they
suddenly
all
they
plan.
have this coordinated plan. It's like
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that moment was a little
didn't
silly.
quite make sense.
They should have said now pretend like you're sleeping and
talk.
Andor's friend is gonna coach everyone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
small nitpick.
Yeah,
It
that's
bothered
true.
me a little bit.
But he doesn't say let's go to bed. He says now let's go.
And think about
Let's
yeah,
go
that's-
make this plan, and then they like go to bed.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But then it
Yeah.
cuts to in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's like they hadn't talked about it all. He gives them a pep talk and said, hey, I'm going to do this because I assume that I'm already dead. Do whatever you want to do. And it's like, yeah, but you should have a plan. And it
Yeah.
turns out they did have a plan, but they never talked about the plan on camera.
This
So it
is-
was kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is why I hate side stories with shows and movies. It's like Andor. This episode should have been just the prison scene, and then you can have time to plan the whole thing, to talk about it, to make sense of the whole thing about okay, the water is going if the water is going to make every circuit just explode and not kill anyone or something like that. It was the whole thing about I was just about to complain about it when I was watching the show when they are they give this whole great speech about we are not getting out and stuff. Then they cut to the scene with the Karen and the redhead guy, and I was like, oh my god, they're going to start doing this or back and forward with those three plot lines or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they cut into the Ferrix stuff. That was just unnecessary. Just cut it out. Like, who cares?
I don't even
Who
remember what
cares?
happened in Ferrix.
Nothing happens. Like basically,
Yeah, I think
the
there's just like one
mom-
scene with the mom.
Oh
The
yeah,
mom
Mon
is not even
Mothma has
there.
a scene with the blonde chick.
No, with Andor's mom. The lady that's from
and
Harry
their
Potter.
mom doesn't want to take her pills, and she's
Oh, that
dying.
that was one scene. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
You're right, that was weird.
Just to show
Just
that
remind us that something's going on there and
the
Cinta's
brown
still
little girl
there.
is trying to
Well,
kill her. or something
Yeah, it
like
was
that.
the
That's
similar problem in the last 3 episode arc where they keep cutting back to the Imperial guy, and he's eating cereal every time and has a conversation with his mom.
My
They
God,
could have cut that down and just put that in one episode, and I wouldn't have cared.
Right. Exactly.
Just put the whole 3 scenes that we got in the first 3 episodes
Yeah.
in just one sequence, and that would have made much more sense.
Yeah.
So
I understand. Sorry, and I understand that they put the thing with the Karen because they had to show us the guy, the redhead guy, doing stuff
Yes.
and trying to pretend that he's with the Empire, although he's a rebel. Although he's not really a rebel, he's just on some
He's
debt.
a mole.
Yeah, he's a mole.
Yeah. However, the other scene with Mon Mothma meeting with the not a banker,
was
disreputable guy, that was a really good
I like
scene.
that.
Yeah.
You got to see a lot of it, seeing what the rebellion has to do to make things work. I liked it. It was good.
It
And
was
then, of course, the end
It was
scene
necessary.
with Skarsgård is like, oh my
Skarsgård's
God,
speech was
it
just
was
beautiful.
so amazing. Like, that's how you write dialogue.
Holy moly!
Just
Yes.
that
That part about
5-minute
his-
scene was more poetic than 8 hours of Rings of Power.
Yes, I was
Like
thinking
not
the
a
same.
single metaphor in that show landed, and this one scene was like,
Yeah,
holy cow, this is
it's-
what good writing is.
Yeah.
That's how you write something that's poetic and thoughtful.
exactly. I was thinking like the Rings of Power just failed at attempting to do this. Literally, just
Yeah.
they wanted to have these moments of
of like prophetic,
wisdom,
profound.
exactly.
I'm expound. They wanted to have like a like Tarantino dialogue, like I'm gonna say something that sounds really freaking cool, and it's the C is right.
Yep.
Always.
Oh, it's C, the C's always right.
Even worse,
Or was it the C is alt right?
worst. The C is right. So the C is sometimes right. Okay, that sounds more logical, but the C is always right. It's just a
And-
fallacy. But
And when I was a boy, I never traveled anywhere, and I only saw the sunrise from one direction. And now I'm on a boat. Even though I work on a boat, and that's my livelihood, this is the first time I'm ever seeing the sun rise from the other direction.
From the same direction, but over something different.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
for me the dumbest part was the one with a rock sings because
Yeah, because it looks up or was
Doesn't look up.
Rocks look.
rocks look down so they float and boats look up so they or wait.
oh,
I still can't even get it right.
It's about
so
as much
stupid.
logic as there's about as much logic as there was in the
Guys,
actual.
guys.
yeah,
thing, so.
because if you try to say it
Boats
logically,
look up and rocks look down. Okay, that's why they sink and why they float, not because of buoyancy or anything, or displacement, of
or
water.
density.
See,
Or
so
density.
why didn't Gladriel just look up when she was sinking in the mast? To just
I don't
look
know.
up and
She just
float
looked up.
back
She
down?
just looked
Because
up.
she's
She was
a
thinking,
rock. She's a
She's a rock. Yep.
yeah, he's a stone face. Yeah, she's stone face.
Gosh, it was that Luthen speech. I was
My God.
literally like
good.
clenching my butt cheeks. I was like,
Yeah.
it hit me hard, and it wasn't just like, hey, let's put in a good speech here, like it makes sense, and you're sympathetic to his character, even though he's really like a terrible person, but like it makes sense, and like it was just brutal honesty.
He is what the rebellion needs. He is the necessary evil to overcome the real evil.
I'm not the hero that Gotham deserves. I'm the hero that Star Wars needs.
That Coruscant
needs. Yeah, and also
that's basically what it was.
That is basically what it was. But I love too the implications though that in order to keep their spy network going, they're not going to leak.
They're not going to follow
details.
up with the information.
And that's,
It's
that's
like, great.
exactly what
Thanks
happens.
for telling me. What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, but
they're
that's
gonna,
exactly
they'll
what
get
happens
massacred.
in
Yeah,
real
but it's
espionage.
He's like, but they're gonna get massacred. Yeah, but it's only 50 people. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
it's
gotta
like that
keep a little-
conversation he had with Mon Mothma a little while back, where she's like, "They're buckling down. People are gonna get hurt," and he was like, "They kind of need to. Sucks for them, but like we need to have them overreacting and overreaching so that everyone else who doesn't get hurt in the direct aftermath will rise up."
Yeah.
Well, and he's taking it even further though. Like he is actively trying to get the Empire to be more abusive so that it will inspire more people to rebel. Like he's trying to put his finger on the scales, which makes it even worse. He's not just like, hey, I'm going to manage this the best I can. He's like, no, I'm intentionally setting things off to make things horrible for people so that I can win.
Well, and again, it's like
so
he said
that
in
things will be better for people.
It's like he said back in that conversation with Mon Mothma about they've been choking us so slowly that we've stopped paying attention.
Yeah, it's the
frog
in boiling water, right?
Yeah. So he's saying we need to get them to turn up the heat a lot faster so that we don't just let ourselves boil to death by just degrees. Like that's
exactly.
Thanks for joining us, Gorilla. Have a great night.
Joe, before you go, Gojira, I gotta give a disclaimer for you, bro. Do not watch episode 1. Watch from episode 3 and forward, and just watch the recap from the first 2 episodes because the first 2 episodes are boring.
They're slow.
Just watch episode 3. That's my take for Gojira there.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved that aspect of it because it like I said, it's exactly what happens with real espionage. You got to weigh that
Mhm.
the balance of, hey, we've got this intel. Are we going to act on it,
or are we going
is
to
our
keep our
spy
intel?
network more important?
Secure.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened. If any of you guys have seen Turn, the show about Washington spies in the
Yeah.
Revolutionary War, it's so good. They take a couple liberties, but there's a point in there too where they come up with some pretty good information, and Washington decides, hey, we can't act on this because that's going
We
to
do
route
wanna
us out
expose our- yeah.
as a spy.
Because how
And
often do you see people
it
where they like
happens.
leak? They're like, we think we have a leak and we think it might be this person. So we'll give them this information and then not really
Exactly.
do that. And like, oh, when we find out that it was, like,
Yeah,
so
they would
he's
have
being
known
smart.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
there were only like a few people in that room, and you probably tell that it's not Karen, it's not Karen's boyfriend or whatever,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's not the supervisor, so it's probably this guy. So yeah, that makes sense. He probably couldn't not do good by that.
Good show.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
It's fantastic.
Good show. Yes.
The
What else?
the
I don't know.
Peripheral is
Uh-huh.
is fine.
Yeah, it's good.
It's interesting.
This-
Got some cool
Yeah.
stuff.
It's
This episode was
it's not
uh-huh.
really. Yeah, there has some good stuff happen in this episode, but it's still confusing
Yeah.
why exactly they need her help.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And-
It's treading water a little bit
Yeah,
in that, which is surprising because this episode actually answers a lot of questions. It
But
gives
not
you
the
it gives you a
important
ton
ones,
of it gives you a ton of
unfortunately.
information. The problem is
The first minutes, yeah.
it's right now it's focused on world building. It's giving you a ton of information about how the world works, but we still don't really know what anyone's motivations are.
yes,
We don't really know what the bad lady wants. We don't know what the other bad guy wants. And the main character's only motivation is, I don't want to die. And so even though this episode, they probably give you like more information than they ever have before. Like they straight up just tell you like, hey, I'm kind of right. They're just using stubs for experimentation to make their world better. But what's the goal?
exactly.
We're
Yeah.
5 episodes in, and I don't know what anyone wants other than the main character's desire to
Yeah.
not die, which is very basic.
The other thing that I guess I'm worried about is that I wonder if that really all it is the general populace of the world doesn't know that they're using stubs this way,
Yeah.
and so the bad people are doing this, and they're worried that information is going to get out and they're going to get in trouble or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's still good.
mhm.
I wouldn't say it's great. It's intriguing. It's interesting. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
It's it's better than average, but it's got problems.
yeah, I agree. I'm still enjoying it, but like you said, they're not really answering the character motivation part of it, and it's getting a little bit frustrating this far into it.
Yeah, and what's more confusing is that like is Anita, right? That's the girl's name.
Alita.
Alita is the one
Battle
I'm
Angel.
searching, yeah.
I wanted to say Alita, but I was like, that's something else, right?
Mhm.
And I didn't want to sound stupid, but now I just sound stupid too. So Alita, up until this episode, was supposedly the one who had all the answers, but then they show you this episode, and it kind of makes it seem like she doesn't really know what she's doing either. And I was like,
I think that was a prequel part that happened before everything else.
Yes, because that character's dead now.
Yeah.
Both of those other characters in that scene are dead.
Right.
Three of them actually.
She would
Oh,
kill
well,
for those
Alita's still
eyes.
Ah, well, yeah, Lila is.
She pulled the eye out of the one girl, and the other girl got
Mhm.
beat to death. So yes, it was, but
Right.
still, it kind of just felt like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what anyone wants.
And it feels like
Mhm.
really weird that they try to make Alita like this conscious, almost like an activist, saying,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
the
but
thing you're doing is wrong, and I'm going to stop you, but I'm going to kill everyone just to get into the chambers, just to stop you, or
yeah.
something like that.
In every
Yeah.
other scene they've shown her character in, she's like this all-knowing. I know what's going on behind the
Mhm.
corner, behind the curtains, and like she's got the master plan, and that's why we need to find her. But then in that scene, and when she sees the stub for the first time, she reacts like she didn't know what this was. She's like, "Wait, you can't do that. That's not ethical."
Right. I think that was her seeing behind the
But
curtain.
no,
for the
but
And
she
first
had
I
a
think that
reason.
was her.
But she was. But from the very start of that scene, she was manipulating her friend to get into that
Yeah.
room, and then she
Yeah, that's true
reacts,
too.
and you're like, well, maybe she was trying to turn the friend as well by trying to do the sympathetic thing, but then she just keeps going, yeah, but I'm a bad girl, so I don't care about the ethical dilemma
Not even her
about
friend,
this
her
stuff.
ex, right? I mean,
Remember,
she was trying to get into her.
remember, I'm a
Yeah.
bad girl that's good, and you're a good girl that's bad, and we
Yeah.
used to bang.
I was
But,
like,
but now I'm into dudes, and that makes you upset.
yeah, I was like, I was thinking about that meme that says, "You had to make it political." Like
Yeah,
the whole thing. Yeah, the lesbian is the one good character in the show, like the one social justice warrior. But every scene we got from her before, she was awful. She was an awful human. I thought that she was the villain for a long part of the show until they introduced the black woman, which was, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much progressive to have a white female as the evil character for
yeah.
once. But I hope they
Well,
don't try to justify her evilness.
that may
I-
be that may end up being how it goes. They need to find
Mhm.
Alita because she's gone crazy. We need to take care of her or something.
It's not gonna. They're not gonna do that. They won't.
Well,
No, you're wrong. Yeah.
not-
I that would be
not
good
her-
storytelling.
Not her
but-
brother character, but the others in the group might want that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think that's
We'll
where.
see.
I don't think that's where they're going at all.
Like I said, I don't know because I don't know anybody's character motivations.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
That
I did like how they explained her model obsession, right? She's oh, I used to do like models, and that's why it explains the whole like model of the stub house in her secret room. I was like, oh, that's a nice little touch. But yeah, and then the episode ends with the same problem I had with the last episode with what's the main character's name? The blonde chick?
Flynn.
Flynn?
Flynn.
Yep.
What?
Flynn.
That's not a woman's name.
He's non-binary.
Flynn so my problem with the last episode was that the two bad guys already know each other, and they're just talking to each other amicably, but then not doing anything, not acting. And then Flynn does the same thing. Oh, hey, I'm gonna go and confront the bad girl, but it's not gonna lead to anything, and we both know where each other are.
yeah.
That's for that was the whole treading water thing. Like, if everyone knows where everyone is, but they're not like doing anything about it other than maybe sending an assassin every once in a while, it seems like you're really not committed to this, and we're just treading water till the finale when you can do it, when you can make a big choice.
Yeah.
I did
was
think
wondering-
that whole thing with the Bob the Butcher whatever was actually really kind of cool, like
That was
set up
interesting.
there, and his attempt, and Billy Ann doing her thing, and then,
His character was great.
and his bit with his daughter was a really good little bit there. They acted that well.
Oh, the
and it
phone
was-
call.
The phone call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Pretty well acted. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was.
And
that
you
was
could tell like that was like something that they'd prearranged to be like, this means I'm probably not making it out, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, did Kevin Conroy die?
Oh,
I don't know.
Mhm.
Yes, the voice of Batman, right?
Yes.
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, he
In
died.
the
For
animated series and
many movies. And
Arkham Knight
series.
movies or video games.
Yes.
He's good talent.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be here and pretend that I've heard his voice because I always watch those movies in Spanish. Like,
Good point. Good point.
the dubbing in Spanish was decent, at least.
Sucks to be Kevin. I never heard his voice anyway.
But I'm gonna try to watch this stuff. Rewatch
That's
a lot
so
of
funny.
movies.
That's so funny.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's really
it's not
funny
something you think about, Yeah.
if the
He's
guy
just
that
nodding. Oh yeah. No, he was so great. I loved his work in the Batman's.
dubs and in the
All
dubbing.
that stuff that I watched, but
I mean, the
didn't
video
do.
games, I did hear his
Yeah.
voice because I never, I don't even think if they are dubbing in those games in
Mm.
Arkham Knights. I'm not sure. But yeah, in the video games at least it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, those movies in the show I watched it in Spanish because they were well, yeah,
Okay.
Mexican thing.
Here's the thing though, guys. I looked it up. The show's called 1899. And I thought we had more time. It starts this week.
Way
Ah.
nice, nice.
Um,
I
Where's
thought I
it
saw
streaming?
something for it.
but it's on Netflix and it drops all at once.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh no.
I
How
mean,
long
we
is it?
still
I
do
hate
one episode a week.
I hate Netflix's release strategy. It's so
Yeah.
it makes it impossible to talk about your
Mhm.
shows. Stop, Netflix, please, for the
It's funny
love of
because-
all that is holy.
Yeah, I was
Do weekly releases.
I was thinking about it, and the thing is that there are shows like The Dark. Probably you needed to watch, like, binge it all to understand it, and Peripheral probably work way better if you just drop the whole show and just binge it all, because it would have made more
Yeah.
sense just not to wait for the other episode the show to start making sense, because right now we don't have any information. It's episode 5, and
And we still don't know if it's
you know-
like we're enjoying it, but we don't know if it's good or not.
yeah, it's funny because I want to say it's good because it feels good at me.
But I
Like,
don't know.
the thing about the butcher, like you said, it was great. The confrontation, it was great. The first minutes aside of the lesbian scene, which felt really really weird, forced mostly. But the whole thing about, I'm gonna take those eyes are eyes that I would kill for. That was interesting.
I loved the
good.
line
That was a
though.
good-
I
that was a
loved
good
the line
belief,
though.
that
Where she's
one.
like, "Are you gonna kiss me right now?" And I was like, my response would be like, "Not for general audiences."
Not for China.
It was kind of a weird choice because they had just reestablished the fact that she was married, and
Mhm.
that she seemed pretty content in her marriage and having
Uh-huh.
2 kids.
I
Even
was
though the other friend was the leader was like, oh, like the one friend
Yeah.
was like, no, I'm married to a man, so
but
no.
you know that scene was written by a leftist. You know that scene was written by a
Probably,
leftist. You know
yeah.
that
Yep.
it smells like
Well,
left.
they did the same thing in the Wheel of
It
Time.
really wasn't egregious to me though. To me, it was there, and they passed
yeah.
by. It was just kind of flavoring to
the
fact
part
that
I
they have a dynamic.
the part I didn't like was her reaction to finding out that she was married,
Mhm.
saying, "Oh, you
But she was
like a
kinda,
you're a sellout."
Mhm.
nasty.
And they did the same thing in the Wheel of Time, which is something that Shad Brooks pointed out and did a really good breakdown of why it was so stupid. But if you know about the universe of the Wheel of Time, only women get to do the magic, and they have like a university where they teach women magic, and it's all girls and no boys allowed. And so a lot of the women there end up having lesbian relationships, right? Because there's no other alternatives. And there's also like the stigma of like, we don't like men. In the books, it's mostly just alluded to, and it's kind of akin to like girls experimenting in college, and
Mhm.
but then when they leave the tower, a lot of them end up having heterosexual relationships, which is what happens in the books. Two of the main characters have very important relationships that they can't do in the show now because they made them both gay for each other. But the point was, there's a scene where the main character, Morgaze, not Morgaze, that's a different character, Moraine, there's so many names in the Wheel of Time, guys. There's
Yeah.
like 600 characters. Okay,
Moraine and Swan.
Moraine is talking to another lady
Oh.
from the tower of a different Aja, the Red Aja, and their Aja is like, we really hate their purpose is to hunt down men who can channel and kill them. So she's talking to the other lady from the Red Aja, and she finds out that she's secretly been meeting a man, and Moraine assumes that the relationship is sexual. And she threatened, and they're like doing a sparring match with words, and she threatens this character, saying, if you don't do what I want, then I will tell the Reds about your relationship about the guy that you're meeting on Dockside, and you know what they'll do to you, implying that if they find out that this character isn't lesbian, they will murder the man, which is preposterous and it's stupid, and it has nothing to do with the world that Robert Jordan created. But that's the attitude that a lot of leftists have. Like, I don't care about your personal life if you're gay, but it's that attitude of, if you don't agree with us, like,
If you're straight, you are evil.
Well,
but they were like applauding that behavior. The whole like, if you have the audacity to be straight, we will do a murder.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that I didn't necessarily mind it in this show how they played it, because there are people who do that. And so painting Alita as that kind of a person, where we already see her as relatively suspect in her motivations and in her goodness as a character. So painting her as somebody who would do that, I guess regardless of where she ends up being, the fact that she would be so dismissive of that just rings to the idea that there are people like that. And so
it's not making her character likable, and I thought she was supposed to be the hero of the show.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
I am not sure that I agree that she is supposed to be the hero of the show. So, but I agree that it's not making her likable. I just think that they didn't care, or there are some people who might find that likable. And again, to me, it's just another thing where it's just another character that has some unlikable characteristics. Whether or not in the end they end up being the hero, that's an unlikable characteristic. But different people have different preferences on whether they'd like that or not.
Also, Jacob, what is going on? You show up to the stream late, and you're just being a downer the whole time. Yeah. No, I saw that, and
that was insane.
It's crazy, and
That's awful.
I don't want to talk about it. But yes, I saw.
Yeah, that was insane. I was like, is this CGI or is this a
Jacob
movie
just
I haven't
showing
watched?
up with all the bad news?
You're such a
He
deadbeat.
he missed the bad takes, and so he's giving us the bad news instead.
It was a show. It was supposed to be a fun day, and then it was not a fun day.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean,
But-
probably the the pilot was on a holiday too. It was Veterans Day. So.
Yeah. Okay. What day is the 17th? Is that a Thursday? That's Thursday. Yeah. So, has anyone seen Dark? Is it just me?
I started watching it with my wife, and then she realized that it wasn't in English, and she didn't want to watch it anymore. So I never got around to finishing it.
That's a German one, isn't it? Is it on
so-
Netflix? No.
So there are lots of different types of sci-fi, right? And within the sci-fi genre, there are like different genres. Okay. Dark is probably the best depiction of time travel I've ever seen on screen.
Ooh. Have you seen?
And I know you're going to say Primer, and yes, you're probably correct. Primer is better.
Primer's good.
But it's so freaking confusing.
Yes.
I mean, like,
yes, you
Wa-
do
like,
not
watch
get it
Primer.
watching the first time.
watch Primer, but you literally have to watch Primer with a notebook in front of you, mapping it.
Yes.
It's so accurate that it's not fun to watch, but it's good.
The way you need to watch Primer is you need to watch Primer, and then you need to watch a YouTube breakdown of how it works,
And then you
and
have
then
to watch
it again. Yeah,
it's really good, but it's one of those movies you have to. It's like a homework movie. You have to suffer through it. Okay, Yes, that is it. That if time travel ever existed, that is what it would be. Is Primer. Dark is more fun.
Hmm. I'm
It's
gonna
I
have to
shouldn't say
binge it
fun.
before
It is
the
depressing.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it is very dark, but it's really good. And yeah, so and 1899 it still has German in it, but a lot of it is filmed in English. So there will be not it won't be dubbed subtitled the entire time.
That's good.
So do you
I
guys
mean,
want to
I
watch?
don't mind. I don't mind watching subtitles. You know, as a Mexican, you had to grow up watching subtitles unless you want to watch the
Yeah.
horrible dub. The dubs are.
Um, oh, and it's got the same. What's got one of this a carryover actor. It's the same creators. I'm really looking forward to it. So are we committing to 1899? Just one episode. Well, we can do it weekly, even though they're not doing it.
Yeah, for sure. If it's great, I'm gonna. But I had to binge Dark then because I haven't watched that. I mean, I've been trying to watch it, but
Oh,
everyone
it's
says
long.
that is
Yeah, I was going to
It's
say there's
only
three
disconnected.
long.
seasons.
You don't
10
have to watch
episodes
that
each.
first though. It is
Oh, okay.
it's disconnected from this. This is a
Oh,
completely new
okay.
thing.
It's the same
It's
creator.
not a
Nice,
sequel.
nice.
It's just the same creators, but I will be following these people for the rest of their
Yeah.
careers.
At least I'm going to watch a few episodes of the first season. You know, just to get my toes,
Uh,
get my toes in the water.
that's a really bad idea because you won't be able to stop. You
Nice.
will watch. You will. It is so. It pulls you so hard, dude.
Bet you can't watch just one.
It is so intriguing.
Hmm.
It's good.
I
I
mean,
think I've heard
that's
good
a
things.
good show for
Yeah.
me. That's a good show.
Mm.
Yo, I was wondering if you ever, any one of you, watch Manifest.
I have
The
not
show.
seen it. No, I've heard it's okay.
It was decent. Probably the last season was a little bit confusing. More, it's weird because it feels like it's written by a Christian. So I felt, had a good messaging
Oh,
overall.
okay.
But sometimes the God stuff was like
It's too much.
a little bit
Wait,
too much.
is it
The
a rap?
angels.
Is it a Rapture movie then?
No. It's
Okay,
a whole
It's a show.
it's not like Left Behind the TV show.
No, I can explain a little bit of summarize a little bit of the
Okay.
plot. They just say like
Well, I know that like the
it's
people like
lost.
a plane disappears and then
Yeah,
shows up like 20 years
exactly.
later, right?
That's basically it, and they have to deal with it. But supposed to
And
had
everyone's
something to
still
do with
alive.
God and with angels and stuff like that.
Hmm.
They do it right by season 3. It's really 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 well. No, I'm not saying good, but it's a popcorn flick basically. You can watch it with your family. It doesn't have gratuitous any gratuitously nudity or anything like that. It doesn't have violence. It's just a decent sci-fi show, probably written by someone that was Catholic and had at least respect for that sort of stuff. And it felt good. It felt good. It felt like a good. And they supposedly this is like, I don't know if the final season of the one season before the ending, but it was good, and it just came out. So I was just saying, yeah, if you ever get time to watch it, but I would recommend Apocalypse from the Past before that, like the Graham Hancock one. Yeah, that's great.
I've heard of Graham Hancock, but I can't remember.
It's the guy that went with Joe Rogan and talks about archaeology a
Yeah.
lot,
Okay.
but everyone hates him. Everyone hates
Fingerprints
him.
of the Gods. Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
read any of his work,
Me neither, but you don't
but
you don't have to
I've
really.
heard of it. Yeah, Magicians of the Gods. Yes. Okay. I've heard
You
of these
can
books.
watch his podcast with Joe Rogan. You can basically get the gist of it. And
What's the
there's
TV
a
show called?
podcast,
What?
Apocalypse or something like that,
What's it on?
from in Netflix. Yeah, it's
Is it
really
new?
really good. It's going to make your skin. If you like history and you like, I'm not going to say like
Oh, it's a
conspiracy theory.
documentary.
It's a documentary series.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the episodes are just like 30 minutes, 40 minutes long, but he goes to some cool places. He actually went to Cholula, where I live, It's
Yeah.
actually the place I live, and I was like, "Yo, it's like the meme of the guy pointing at the TV." And
I
I
get
know
I get
that
the
place.
reference.
Yeah, I get a reference. It was really cool to watch the place where you live just depicted as a cool place, as
Always
a
fun to
Cool. Yeah.
fun to have
mysterious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would recommend that if you like history and you want to know what the hell happened with the humans and how we get here, it's a good start.
Yeah. It looks interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And sorry, you were recommending another show,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the other show, yeah. So I this week was kind of rough for me. I was sick last Sunday and basically sick all week and dealing with a little bit of depression. So
Mm.
I didn't do anything. I started listening to. I was trying to finish Rhythm of War, Brandon Sanderson's new book before I go tomorrow to um, the conference. What's it called?
Dragonsteel.
Dragonsteel. I'm going to Dragonsteel tomorrow and Tuesday, and I was trying to finish the
That'll be
book
fun.
before then because there's going to be a spoiler discussion. Even though I've already heard a lot of book spoilers, and I don't mind.
Mhm.
But the main character, Kaladin, is dealing with a bunch of depression in the book, and I was like, this is making things worse right now. And so I watched a ton of Doctor Who. I just finished season 4. And I haven't finished the special episodes. But every time I would watch an episode of the Peripheral, oh my goodness, every single time I watch the Peripheral, it tries to autoplay Rings of Power afterwards.
Oh no!
I hate it so much, and I was like, Amazon, screw you.
Yeah, that never happened to me. That's
But
wild.
exiting out of it, they were advertising the Devil's Hour with Peter Capaldi, and,
That's one
and
that's
Doctor Who was on my mind, and it was and I realized I never watched any scary movies for Halloween because I was too busy, and so yeah, I watched the Devil's Hour because I've literally just done nothing but watch TV this week. But it's really good. It's one of those mind benders. It was genuinely creepy. Like I don't get scared by like gore and stuff, but I really like suspense. But this one,
Mhm.
it was eerie. It's also relatively short. It's just a 6-episode miniseries. I don't know if they're planning on doing a season 2. They easily could. It's left open ended, but it's one of those open ended endings that like you could be okay with if that's all there was.
Mhm.
Kind of like the ending of the first Matrix movie. You're like, yeah, this is technically a cliffhanger, but in a way that's satisfactory.
Mhm.
So yeah, the ending isn't like, hey, here's all the answers, but is kind of a really nice bow. And then when you start thinking about it, you're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh, and it just makes your brain think. And I think that's kind of the point. I think they were going
Mhm.
for a 1-season thing, but I could easily see them picking it up for a second season
Mm.
if
Yeah,
it does
if it does
well.
good, yeah, probably.
It's creepy.
Nice.
Peter Capaldi is fantastic in it. The child actor
Oof.
is really good, and it's smart. It's one you have to pay attention to it. There are a ton of little teeny details that you got to pay attention to, and then later you're like, oh frick, that's what that was. And it's bendy.
Mhm.
I really really liked it.
I
Nice.
saw the first episode and I thought that first of all it's really hard to make a pilot. It's really really hard to make a pilot, and
Yeah.
many I think Chris Gore talks about it a lot. It's really really hard to
Mhm.
make a pilot, and sometimes you get to understand that why people don't go to watch shows. That's why when Gojira said like, oh, I want to watch episode 1. I was like, of Andor, I was like, no, you're not going to like it.
No,
That's
no.
probably why people are not watching Andor. It's probably because episode 1 and 2 were so bad, and where people are, oh no, this is just another regular garbage
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Boba Fett show. And this episode was like, the first half was like, I don't know if the first part, but the parts that are not with the child and the mother, with the other guy, like the Indian guy, those parts were boring and kind of fell flat for a
But
little bit. But the
but
ending
they're
of that episode,
but they are important.
but the ending, I mean, I was going to say that the ending of that first episode with the guy was like,
I'm
oh, this guy is going to be important, and
I yeah,
everything they say before is going to be
I'm
important.
trying to remember because I pretty much watched it. I watched it in two sittings. I
Yeah.
watched like two episodes and then I watched four episodes. Where does episode 1 end?
They end when they discover the everything that's written is basically something that's going to
Oh,
happen. Hmm.
the
When they find that
house? Do they find the
the
apartment?
house, exactly,
Yes.
the apartment.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was like,
It's
what?
good. It's
They're going to
really
go
good.
there. They're going to go there. I
Hmm.
was like, wow, they are actually going to go there, because I was wondering, what is this? All this flashback,
Yeah.
but flash forward stuff they are
And
doing. It felt weird without the context, but then you get to the context, and then you say, oh, this is where this show is going to, and it's
it's
interesting.
it also takes a really really unexpected turn that is I I thought they were going one direction and they don't. It's something completely different and I was so pleasantly surprised with it. I think it's very clever and it's as far as I'm aware, it's something very new.
Hmm.
I don't think I've seen this before.
Hmm.
This
That's
kind of
pretty cool.
plot.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
I'm gonna try to watch it all, because now I'm intrigued. That first episode really lets you, like, the end of that episode lets you intrigued. The beginning is just, no, I tell you, there's a little bit off. There's a lot of cliches with the girl waking up, and I was like, oh, people don't wake up like that when they wake up from a nightmare. People just wake up like, like, in,
Oh, it
and
no, it's
but if you say that,
no,
oh,
it's there for it's
for a
on
reason.
purpose. It's on
Oh,
purpose,
oh,
and
that now makes sense, more
it's really
sense.
good. It's really
Now
good.
makes more
The answer
sense,
the
bro.
answer is very good.
Because I was like, that's the only thing that bothered me. That it was the small cliches, that the weird kid, and but if you say that it pay off, I want to watch it, because when the only good way to get rid of a cliche is if you made it on purpose to make a point, and that's, holy moly. I want to watch it now. I want to
It's
watch
fun.
it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I saw the
Peripheral.
thumbnail and watched the trailer and immediately put it on my watch list. But
Hmm.
no,
Pe-
I'll have to go watch it now.
Yeah.
Peter Capaldi is really
He's a good
good at
actor.
it. He's
He's
really
the only
good.
reason why I was going to watch the show. I don't even know who the girl was. I was just thinking the whole
Yeah,
episode.
I've never seen any of these actors
This
before.
this girl has the fakest nose job I've seen in my life. And everything she has is fake. She has fake eyebrows. She has fake lips, fake forehead. Buttocks, forehead. I was like, this is the fakest girl I've seen in my life. But she's not annoying. No, she has good presence in the screen. She doesn't. I mean, I'm a little bit of nitpicker, and I don't know why I'm able to watch these little details of people. Maybe because I used to like watching botched, and now I feel like I'm an expert in plastic surgery. But yeah, it was good. It was good. The show is The Devil's Hour.
The Devil's Hour.
It's
It's on
good.
Prime.
It's good. It's one of those things that Prime what the hell is going on with Prime? They bring the Rings of Power, then now they have the Peripheral and the Hour of the Devil.
And they
Those
have,
are good. At least they are infinitely better
and then
than Rings of
they do shows
Power.
like Reacher and Jack
The
Ryan
Terminal
and
Terminalist.
the Terminal List. They're better with these low budget shows, and they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they give them the liberty because they don't care about them. It's just okay. It's just 100 million to this show, 100 million to this show. It's
I
just
feel like they have the same approach that like Blumhouse does with horror movies.
Yes.
Right? Blumhouse, they literally just they'll take anybody,
Mhm.
give them a couple bucks, and
They make money.
half of them suck, and half of them, and a couple of them are okay, and then a couple of them are like
Are great.
fantastic, and they make a
Yeah.
ton of money. And they're
Yeah.
kind of doing the same thing with TV shows. They're like, the Terminal List. Did people buy the book? Okay, sure. Here's a little budget. Go make the Terminal List. Here, go make a Jack Reacher movie. Sure, if you want to. Who cares? But it's the things they don't care about are good. And Rings of Power and Wheel of Time, they invest a bunch of money in, and it's just the worst thing they've ever done.
Isn't that a little bit like what we were saying with Andor and Boba
It's
Fett?
the same.
And,
It's the same
yep.
with Andor and Boba Fett, man.
You're goddamn right. Is this like a trend? If what is going on? Like
If the execs care about it, they get so many people that
Yeah.
are sticking
No,
their hands
but,
in it and worrying about all these other
It
things.
worked. It
and-
worked with House of the Dragon, though.
Mhm.
So
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But there
It
were
happens
not
occasionally that
that
it turns
many
out okay.
people involved with the writing and the directing. There was just
oh, I'm sure there were tons of people involved making.
But,
Oh,
but that's definitely the same kind of property, like a Rings of Power or a Obi-Wan or whatever, where it's like it's
The-
something
the
that
difference
the
is-
higher ups will
the difference
care
is
about
they
and want to.
they'd already learned their lesson, though,
I
right?
hope-
Because they had the ending of Game of Thrones, and they
Assuming that
screwed
they
it up.
actually learned
And
their
so
lesson,
they
but-
approached this with more caution, thinking like, hey, we
Mhm.
can't screw this up. This is like our
but a
this is our
lot.
redemption.
But it's
It
like the
paid
more
off.
caution that they think they're approaching it with, the worse they do. I don't know.
But it showed off. It
Maybe.
showed off. It paid off. I'm sorry. The House of the Dragon
It's so good.
cautionary.
It's good.
Yeah.
Oof,
So good.
it revived a death. Literally, imagine if Star Wars drops something amazing. It's basically what House of the Dragon was to Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
The IP was dead. Like no one wanted to watch anything related to even the prequels and the sequels that they were planning to do. Like the
That
whole
half of them got canceled.
yeah. Snow, like the only reason Snow got greenlit is because everyone loves Jon Snow, and
Mhm.
the guy that plays Jon Snow is really
Aaron
good at
Taylor.
playing Jon Snow. I mean,
Until the
he's
last
a
season,
bad
right?
person.
Where all he
But
says,
please,
"I don't want it. I don't
don't
want to
want
do.
it.
I'm
But
not going to make a
please."
single character decision this season."
But he felt like he was annoyed by that. He every table reading that they showed us, he that he's annoyed by the whole thing.
Yeah,
But
you can
please.
see in their interviews.
don't want to.
Most of the actors were like, "It's not."
And
gonna
actually,
be
he's the
this."
only one that didn't give a crap and was just saying, "Oh, this season is horrible. It's just probably the worst season ever, best season ever."
Yeah, I think most people realized, hey, this isn't going to be good, but like, what choice do we have?
Yeah, they're in their contracts. They're in there, and even if they weren't, they're
Yeah.
just in the middle of it.
I think Peter Dinklage though is the only one who's just like actively just being horrible.
Hmm.
Ugh. Him pulling the rug up out from underneath all of the other dwarf actors and making them lose their jobs. They could have had jobs with the new Snow White movie, and now they
Mhm.
don't because of because of Peter Dinklage. He
Mhm.
took jobs away from people of shortness.
And it's amazing because he was in probably the worst movie about small people. The Tiptoes. Have you seen Tiptoes?
No,
Bro.
but yeah, talk about climbing the corporate ladder and then pulling it up behind you.
That movie, bro. what's the name of Gordon, the guy that makes Deputy Gordon in the Christopher Nolan movies? Um,
Oh yeah.
what's the name
Never
of
heard of
that
this movie.
Oh,
what's guy?
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. He
Yeah.
plays a little
Kate,
person, bro. He plays a little person, literally, in a movie where Peter Dinklage is he's the side character, and Matthew
why have I
McConaughey.
never heard of this? This has
Bro,
got Gary
bro,
Oldman, Kate Beckinsale,
bro.
Patricia
Watch,
Arquette, and
I,
Matthew McConaughey, and
bro,
Peter Dinklage.
bro, and another woman, and another woman that was really famous on the 90s and 80s. I don't know. She was blonde or something like that. Bro, watch. I don't know if Elvis the Alien or someone like that, Mr. Gigi, someone like that, made a pretty good review of the movie.
Where
Bro,
is
it's
this streaming? Where
disgusting.
Voodoo? Oh, is it free?
Bro, that movie is disgusting, man. It's
I'm
so
I
bad.
I have to watch it.
Watch it, bro. You wanna laugh when every
It's
time
free.
Gary Oldman,
It's
bro,
streaming free on Voodoo with ads.
What's it called again?
it
Tiptoes.
goes, bro, watch that movie, man. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to say, how are they? How were they able to make this movie any in any way? And that's why I say, Peter Dinklage, what are you talking about, my man? You were in a movie where Gary Oldman plays a little person instead of giving their job to another small person. I don't know why. Why? It's almost like blackface. They say that it's Gary Oldman's blackface, basically.
Mm. The short
Oh.
face.
Sure.
Short
This-
face.
This looks so good.
Bro,
I-
it's
Oh man, I
It has a
love movies
2.8
like this.
rating.
it's so bro, it's so good, bro. It's so bad. It's awesome. That movie's
I've
Oh
literally
my
I've never heard of this though. How did this get past my radar?
it is because I was binging, Elvis the Alien channel, just because I didn't have anything else good to watch, and I was just looking for bad movies because I have this thing of watching bad movies, just making fun of them. But my God, I was not expecting to find.
Oh, this looks like
expecting to
so
find
much fun
those.
though.
Bro, I don't even
Okay,
want to
yeah.
spoil it.
Yeah. That was really little of Peter Dinklage. Great job, Jacob.
Bro, oh yeah, the girl that plays Buttercup, exactly. That's the that's the other actress. Yeah, I don't remember her. Jessica
Robin
is
Wright?
no, it's not Jessica Parker. No, is Sarah Jessica Parker. No, it's not her. I would remember because she has
Patricia Arquette.
yes, that. But yeah, you gotta if you have like a free time and you are just want to watch something and just laugh your ass off, just watch that movie. My God, it's unbelievable.
Last night,
really,
my wife and I
really
we
bad.
watched The Descent. You guys ever seen that one?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
that's
that was
really funny
the
too.
caving one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there are two capes movie, right? There's
There's
one that
lots.
is pretty, but there's one that is decent, and then all the others are just garbage.
Mm.
Just
I've heard The
hilarious.
Descent is good. Yeah.
I've heard really good things about it, and I thought it was fine.
There's
It was-
there's two versions of it though. Like the ending is different for the
Mhm.
American version, and I
And
believe it's worse.
Actually, I read the American version, and I liked I read the difference between the American and the extended version, and I liked the American version a lot better. 'Cause
Which
it's much
one?
more of that-
Which one is the? Oh, it was a dream.
The not American version. The
Oh,
extended
yeah.
version is that it was just a dream.
No, the
Okay,
the
that's
other,
silly.
yeah, the American one is
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Okay.
at least the ending and
The rare occasion where the American version doesn't screw it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but the lesson of the day was watch Tiptoes.
Okay, I'm definitely watching this. Not tonight though, because I got to get to bed on time, and I'll be gone for 2 days. So that'll be fun.
Yes.
Gosh, this looks just looks so horribly good. Shoot, I had a point. Oh yeah. Yeah, well that's basically it, guys. Yeah, we're the different versions of movies that reminded me of, this is like a rant I had a long time ago about Taken 2. Did you guys watch the second one?
Yeah.
I
So
actually haven't watched either one. So
Taken's really good, and Taken 2 is really stupid,
Yep.
Yes.
except if you watch the director's cut.
Oh.
It
Really?
it literally fixes every single problem that movie has.
Oh.
Does it fix the grenades?
No,
'Cause that scene was dumb.
no, that makes that's a good scene. What are you talking about?
She's chucking grenades out the
Okay.
window.
Oh yeah,
Liam
yeah,
Neeson
silly.
will find him.
Yeah,
Like,
the idea
That's so
is
dumb.
scientific. Yeah, just throwing grenades into public. Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, you're right. No, so the whole problem with the second half of that movie is it's silly.
Yep.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
and
make sense because so like he rescues the mom and the daughter, and then his wife gets like captured again, and then he's trying to save his wife for the second half of the movie. Right, because the gimmick is that he
Right.
gets taken, right? So he gets taken, his daughter has to find him, and then halfway it switches and his wife gets taken and he has to go save his wife. And it's ridiculous because the entire time, like, the bad guys aren't using her as a hostage human shield. They're just running away from him. And it like none of it makes any sense. Like the blocking is just silly, and you're like, what is going on? And it's because it was reshot, because they thought that the original cut was too dark. In the original cut, he saves both of them, gets them safely to the American embassy, and then says, I'm going to go end this. Because if I don't end it now, they'll come back for us eventually. I'm just going to go kill these people.
Wow.
Makes more sense.
Which is why they were running from him the whole time.
Yeah.
So they literally just like CGI'd her like in the back of, like replaced a couple scenes where they have his wife and they're not. It doesn't make any sense. But like literally just that one change fixes the entire movie. It's actually good. I haven't
gonna
seen
look for it,
Taken
yeah.
3. That one looked horrible.
It
Yeah,
was horrible, bro. It made no
But-
sense. The whole movie
Yeah,
was-
I bought a whole disc set of 1, 2, and 3 together. Like, oh, that's awesome. I haven't seen the other two, and I watched the second one. And like, I'm not watching the third one because the second one. Was dumb.
Don't.
Yeah, the second one is stupid. I hated it.
No.
And then for some reason, I don't know, I thought it was like, oh, there's some deleted scenes. It turns out it was just a completely different version of the movie. I don't know if you can watch it as a whole. I think you have to like segment it, but like it fixes every single problem that the movie had. So retarded. But executives are so stupid sometimes.
I think I've heard that they're trying to make a Taken 4, aren't they?
Oh my god! After
It's-
Taken
no,
3,
I-
how?
Let me guess. It's a TV show, and it's about his daughter doing the Taken stuff.
Or it's a TV show about
So
him
it's
as a
all
young
it's
kid
all female. It's an
learning
all female
these
cast.
skills.
It's an all female cast, and his daughter's girlfriend gets taken, and she has to use her lesbian powers to save her girlfriend.
Are those
No,
like
I think they're
the
going to
powers in
recast-
Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Yeah.
I think they're
I think the
just going to
premise.
recast the Taken guy. They're just going to put a black girl for the Taken. She's going to do all the Taken. I bet that
Yeah.
is going to.
I don't think I've heard anything about what they're going to do with it. I just think
That's what I
they're
said.
gonna do it.
It's going to be
Oh
it's
yeah.
going to be a black girl. It's still going to be his daughter, but she's going to be black in the TV show for some reason.
Yep.
Sorry,
And,
I
no,
thought that was implied.
The real premise is Liam Neeson is going to be in an old folks' home and he's forgotten to take in his medicine.
Oh, he's
It's
forgotten.
like,
Oh,
oh,
taken-
you haven't
Well-
taken your medicine.
Well, Liam Neeson will show up in a cameo, right? And
Yeah.
Probably.
and she'll be like, "You were such a bad father. You abandoned me. You were a horrible role model." And then,
He's going to apologize. He's going to get on his knees
yeah, he'll get on his knees and apologize for being a man, and then he'll
for
die.
being white. For being white. No. Though they are probably going to do they're going to kill him, probably just like Han Solo. They're probably going to do the Han Solo.
Yeah.
If they ever do a Taken 4, although after that third movie that nobody watched because it was just so bad. The third movie from Taken was just rough. And even I that sometimes I do that I like dumb action movies because Liam Neeson is on them because he's cool. He's like the cool guy that just
He's
does,
Liam
does
Neeson.
these things and basically win chunks his way out of every situation.
It's got to be like
But
taken forever, right?
you're
Yeah.
right. You're probably right.
It
Yeah.
totally should be. I don't know why any fourth installment of a series is not always forever. Every single fourth installment needs to be
I
forever.
think that hard.
I've
Die
heard
Hard.
good things about Nobody.
What
Yeah,
was the third Bad Boys movie called Bad Boys
It's
for
for
Life?
Uh-huh.
Did they?
Did
Did they
not
use
think
the
they were
number
going to get to
4?
a fourth one?
It was FOR though, right? Not.
I think they just spelled it
Oh,
out.
they should have done just
no,
the number 4.
they might have had that. I don't know. I'd have to
probably
see on
in
the satellite.
some
Hold on.
random poster or random
Bad
marketing.
Boys for Life. Oh, please be.
Seeing it written out.
I might have to go watch that
in
movie.
some
No,
movies.
they used it's
Oh.
FOR. That would have
Yeah.
been so funny though.
They said, "Nah, it's cheesy. It's cheesy."
Yeah.
Bad Boys
Oh,
4, and
gosh.
people are like, wait, was there a Bad Boys 3?
But
This is
Die
Bad
Hard
Boys
4,
3. Bad
isn't
Boys
Die
for Life is Bad Boys 3.
a
would've
bad
been
day
funny.
for
No.
die, good day for no.
A bad boy to die hard.
Bad Boy 2, Batting Harder. Wait.
Or
Bad
was it
Boy
Die
Harder?
Hard 5
Wait.
where they did that cheesy thing about just making a cheesy thing about the name? But Die Hard.
Yeah,
died.
so it was Die Hard. It was Die Hard. Then Die Hard 2, which was commonly referred to as Die Harder. There were some that was never the official name of the movie, but there were some posters with so it was Die Hard, Die Harder, but technically Die Hard 2. Then Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is good. That's a good movie.
Mhm.
And then Live Free or Die Hard.
Exactly.
And then A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah.
And then No Time to Die Hard. And oh wait, sorry, now I'm mixing them up.
No, that's a different franchise.
Crossing over. Come on, crossing over.
Yep.
I
And-
mentioned it real quick when I saw it in the chat here, but Jacob Ironside's mentioning the movie Nobody, and I've heard really good things with that. And Bob
Yeah, it's
Odenkirk
fun.
is awesome.
Yeah, it's a lighthearted
Bad Boys
John.
Never
It's
Again.
a more lighthearted John Wick.
Nice. Yeah,
Not
I had
playing.
seen a thumbnail for that, and that looked intriguing, but I never saw it.
Bad Boys Never Again.
Bad Boys Never Go Back.
Oh, Die Hard 6 is cancelled. Oh, that's a bad news. Die Hard 6 cancelled.
Yeah, for some reason in Die Hard 5, A Good Day to Die Hard, John McClane all of the sudden has a son who's like 40 years old.
I haven't
this
seen
is
that.
the
I
last
think I've only
one?
seen the
Which one?
first 3.
Which
he
one
ha-
did they suddenly go PG-13 for?
That was 4.
Four.
Sorry,
Yeah,
four.
yeah.
Yeah. So, which is honestly pretty good movie.
Yeah.
A good Live Free or Die Hard. It's
Yeah.
not
There are
bad.
some great scenes. There are
Yeah.
some great scenes. Good acting.
There, it gets
Justin
a little.
Long is good at it. Yeah.
It gets a little too over the top,
Huh.
but it's fun. And Jason Long is really good in it.
Mhm. Yeah, there were some Transformer moments, and almost felt like it was directed by that guy. What's the name of that guy?
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. That sound with the but
Yeah.
it was fun. It was great time at the movies at least.
Yeah. I would say Die Hard 1 is the best, then easily Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, and then Die Hard
the-
2.
Die Hard
Then
2
Die Hard
really isn't that great. It's pretty formulaic, but it's
Yeah.
not. I think I like 4 better than 2.
Probably.
It's 4's more fun, and I get why a lot of people didn't like it. It gets a little too silly, but it was fun.
Mhm.
And then just Last Place is a Good Day to Die
Oof.
Hard. It's so bad. It's so
My
bad.
God,
So
that
bad.
movie's horrific.
But yeah, Vengeance is good.
Hmm.
'Cause
Yeah,
you get-
3 is great.
I mean, just having Bruce Willis walking around Harlem.
Yeah. With the street sign. Yeah.
Is so good. And
Oh,
Samuel
God.
Jackson, you trying to die? like I just the confusion in that scene and their interact. It's so good. It's good.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh man.
Ah,
Oh.
Tropic Thunder.
The movie previews at the beginning of Tropic Thunder. He's about to save the world again. Yeah, Tropic Thunder is a classic. It's
Yeah,
Uh,
that
what
was
were-
one of the first.
the previews for that one were it was the Simple Jack, which I used in the meme edits for Rings of Power, and then we had the funniest one though was the two monks. You had what was that called? It was like Devotion or something like that. But
Let me check it out.
it was Robert Downey Jr. and Spider-Man.
Tobey
Tobey Maguire as gay monk lovers. And it's so funny. It's so good.
Mm.
It's
I gotta
like
check it out.
the temptation or something like that, right? That is a
Also, the
clever-
Scorcher, the Scorcher ones, the ones with
Scorchers 12 or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only one that I didn't like was the one with Jack Black. He
Yeah.
was. They
These
were
two over the
just,
top.
yeah. Were,
Man, that
I'm about to tell you the name of the
that movie was what?
Kirk Lazarus. Yes, such good names. Tobey Maguire. I'm watching the trailer, the opening trailer.
What's it called?
I'm making it there.
Yeah. Oh, Tom Cruise with his big hands as the
Ah,
villain. Like,
Bro,
Les Grossman.
the name is Satan's Alley.
yeah. That's good. That's a good name.
Oh my God, that movie is so good. Everyone I tried to recommend that movie was telling me, "Oh, the movie's bad," but they don't get American humor. They don't get it.
Mm.
It's just so tongue in cheek though. Like it's ooh.
Every moment. It's just one of the best parody movies, probably. Probably the biggest with the biggest budget. Those actors are great, you know.
It's got that guy that looks like Russell Brand. What's his name? As the director. It's not Russell Brand.
I do not know.
What's his name?
Bro, there's a
Steve-
director, Scott.
Steve Coogan.
Well, it says that it was directed by Ben Stiller, so
Yeah, he wrote and directed it.
nice. That's good. He was funny. There was a time where Ben Stiller was really funny. What happened to him? Like the movie he got when he goes to Alaska or something, Greenland, something like that. It's just so
the secret
boring.
the Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was good. The original's better, but it was
Mhm.
was a worthy follow up, I think.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, Ben Stiller's written and directed a couple good ones. I never saw Zoolander 2, and
Neither
It's
did
not
I.
worth it.
It's not
No.
good.
No,
Just watch. I'm just going to watch the
Don't
original
bother.
one.
Jared, you and I saw that together. Remember that?
Did we see that one together? Oh man,
Yeah.
I just remember it was just awful.
He
Like-
directed Zoolander. He directed The Cable Guy. Have you seen, that one's good. Him and Jim Carrey.
Cable Guy.
He directed
Good.
Zoolander, Tropic Thunder, Walter Mitty, and then Zoolander 2. So
Wow, I'm impressed actually to
Well, I mean,
to see that he wrote and directed Tropic Thunder.
One-
Y'all know that like the reason this was shaved was because I was Hansel for Halloween, right? From Zoolander. My wife was Zoolander with her. She's got the short hair and everything. dark hair,
Doesn't really make it any better. There was one movie
Wow.
there was a Ben Stiller movie that really wasn't popular, but I actually really liked it. It was the Tower Heist.
Hmm.
Is that what it's called? It was
Oh,
a
yeah, I
heist
don't-
movie. It's a heist movie with Ben Stiller, and it was fantastic. It was really
Yeah,
fun.
If I saw that or not.
with Eddie Murphy.
Oh,
Of course.
It's
of
called
course.
Tower Heist.
Yeah, it sounded familiar. I've heard people
Yeah,
talk about it.
I
but
think
I
I've
don't
seen
think
that one. That one was all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Matthew Broderick. Broderick.
Broadway, Casey Affleck,
It's funny. It's a
Alan
funny movie.
Alda.
Mm.
It's a great. It has great actors.
I might have to check that one out. I really like the
Yeah,
action.
it's a comedy heist
Mm.
movie, and it's actually got like a good twist to it.
Mhm.
It's good stuff.
Michael Peña as well. Michael Peña was good at it. Stephen McKinley, the albino guy that always, is the either the security guard or the or the intendant or something. Oh, he always
Mhm.
acts or something like that.
Oh, and I just got an email from Shad Brooks's Indiegogo campaign,
Mm-hmm.
and they just passed $600,000, and there are
Nice.
3 hours left to get his comic book.
Nice.
I already got both. I got the book and the comic book. So,
That's a good.
Yeah.
You gotta make a review on that, bro.
oh yeah, I'm excited
That's a
for
good
it.
reading.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good story. I already read the book.
Well, if you're not in the mood
What's
to
printing?
watch Tiptoes, you can watch Tower Heist, and it's fun.
No, bro, you gotta watch it. My God.
I'm going to.
All right.
I need to like text myself so I won't forget.
You gotta get drunk for that movie. You gotta drink a sip every time
Oh.
they make a harmful comment to little people. Yeah, every time you gotta make a shot, do a shot.
Yeah, we can't. We don't drink as we're Mormons.
We're all
Yeah,
them
bro, that's-
Mormons.
Respectable,
Yeah.
bro. Respectable.
It
I-
it would help with a lot of stuff though. I gotta admit. It
Help.
really would have helped with Rings of
Bro.
Power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to get not drunk of it, but I had to get a beer every time. I was like, okay, I'm going ahead and edit this freaking video. I gotta get over with it.
I will
get
say though, there's nothing
Yeah.
against doing whippets. So that I was just joking. Yeah. So there's some good stuff, and well, what? So next week, and there's 2 more episodes of Andor. There's like 3 more episodes of the Peripheral,
Mhm.
and we'll start 1899,
Yeah, one episode.
and then Willow is also starting at the end of this month after both Andor and
Oh yeah.
the Peripheral are over.
I'll have to watch the movie again. I've only seen it the one time, and it was only probably a year or two ago. I
So
didn't grow
good.
up with that one as much.
It was
but-
good. It was fun.
The TV show looks horrible. I'm not looking forward to it, and I'm expecting it to be the worst thing ever. Except probably
Bro.
not as bad as Rings of Power.
But next week you gotta tell me if you got to watch TikToks.
I probably won't have time this week because I'm gone for 2 days, but
Bro.
I will try and fit it in.
Next week, but
It's- I'm going to watch it.
oh
So.
hell.
But thanks for tuning in. It's been fun. We got a little distracted at the end. It's just chit chatting about. Hey, we got some good recommendations, everybody.
As is a surprise to nobody, always a recommendation for Brandon Sanderson. I've been listening. I listened to Warbreaker again this week. Such a good book. I love that book.
Yeah,
It's a good book.
no. I've started I got back into Rhythm of War, and I got about a third of the way through the book. It's fantastic. It's really good. I'm not going to be able to finish
I'm looking
by
forward
tomorrow.
I'm really
but
looking forward to hearring how things go at Dragonsteel. That'll be fun.
have you read Rhythm of War yet?
I haven't. So I have not cracked into the Stormlight Archive because it was such a big project and I didn't want to have to review it until I realized, oh, hey, I can audiobook to review. So now that Rhythm of War, and he's going to be coming out with the 5th one pretty soon, I think that I will probably be cracking into that.
Yeah, well, and the 5th one is like the end of the arc. It's 2 5-book arcs. So
which is exactly why I was kind of waiting for this point to crack into it. So
it's a good time to start.
It's
a good time to start because you don't want to wait until there's 10 books.
Exactly. Right. Well, and yes and no, because it was kind of like I want to be able to just read them all and not have to like refresh myself.
They're big. Okay, look, I downloaded the audiobook. It was freaking 56 hours.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
So I'm listening to it. I'm listening to it at 1.5 speed to cut that down by 20 hours.
Now that I've broken into audiobooks, I will that is actually completely solved at least 99% of my problem with why I didn't start the Stormlight Archive. Yeah. So I'm going to finish. I'm listening to the Arcanum Unbounded right now. Listening to Emperor's Soul, which is another great short story. If you haven't read that one, it's awesome.
I love the Emperor's Soul.
Oh, it's so good. And
that's his best novella.
Yeah, so I'll finish up with all that, and I'm going to crack through all of the Mistborn books to read the new one that's coming out in 2 days, and then I will crack into Stormlight Archive.
Well, the fun thing so far about Rhythm of War is like it's always been confirmed that there are characters from his other books in the Stormlight Archive, but it's always been really vague and like only like really crazy people have figured out which ones are which online by literally like analyzing the character's speech patterns from different books. I'm like, oh, this is this character and this is that one, and I'm like, I don't want to look that up because I want to find it naturally.
And Brandon's just not good that he actually can do that across decades, a decade of publishing.
Yeah, but there are some very explicit scenes in this one that like if you don't get it by now, like you're a dum-dum, and it makes me, it's really really exciting because it's one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite books, and now he's in Stormlight Archive, and it's really cool.
Yeah, well, I'm getting a similar treatment here too because I recently finished the 3 books for Wax and Wayne, and I've been reading all of the Mistborn novellas. So
have you been reading Secret History?
I'm almost done with Secret History, so I'm like, oh, okay, so that connects here, and this connects here, and I've heard this name from the Stormlight Archive, even though I haven't read it yet. So it's cool. Good stuff.
I can't wait. He's getting adaptations.
Lost Metal.
And I cannot wait for my birthday when I get to hear. I'm hoping that I get to hear about some television or movie projects.
I think he's going to announce it at Dragonsteel.
He might. That's a good point.
Really hope he does.
It's only a month from Colo Stomping Day, so
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's gonna.
He might.
I'll
keep an eye out. Definitely.
It might not be ready yet, but if it's not then, there will definitely be some updates in his State of Sanderson at the end of the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the last time he said it, which was like a couple months ago, he's like, "This time next year, we will be on set doing something." So something's coming.
I would be surprised if we're not on set.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. It'll be a busy one. Bye. Thanks everybody. Anyone have anything to plug aside from your channels?
Nope.
Tiptoes.
Watch Tiptoes. I'm making everybody see it. All right. Bye.